unable to really get off of his back here. Maybe he's seeing something that we don't see. Maybe he's trying to play the long game and look for his opponent to make a mistake off of his back here at Sla-Baugh, but I think that's a good, solid round there for Guyo.
Yeah, excellent round. Guyo top position the majority of the time. If you look in his corner, you got Alex Trujillo. Alex Trujillo's had a gym for 20-plus years here in the Midwest. He's, you know, kind of one of the old guard in regards to gyms. Mikey Barnaby and Matthew Martinez in his corner.
Here on the replay, we just kind of see how Guyo just controlled the fight here. Started off banging, and once he went to the wrestling, that was pretty much a wrap for him.
And Bishop Sla-Baugh getting his instructions from Joe Alexander, another guy that's been around a long time.
I expect to see Guyo going into the second round. I mean, sticking to the game plan here. I mean, if that was his game plan, but sticking to what works. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Get back to my wrestling control position here. Sla-Baugh spent the majority of that last round on his back, so now the onus is on him to kind of move forward and take this fight back into his own control.
Absolutely. Round 2 is starting. Once again, we've got Dominic Guyo in the red corner and Bishop Sla-Baugh in the blue corner. Double jab, sets up a big right, just misses, and back into the clinch is Dominic Guyo.
Guyo right back to cage control. They're both here in this over-under position. Not a bad position necessarily for either one of them, but once again, like I said, Sla-Baugh has to push the pace here. He's down 1 round. He's looking a bit tired here, so I don't know. I don't know if I like what I'm seeing.
Dominic Guyo again in top position after a shot by Bishop Sla-Baugh. North-south position.
Easy takedown right there for Guyo. Just kind of snapped his head down and is able to possibly get mount.
Oof, Dominic Guyo positions, back to the half mount.
The good thing about hanging out here in half guard when you're on top, you're almost never in danger on your back. I look to see Guyo maybe even try to set up that arm triangle as he's resting in that cross-body position.
Dominic Guyo, I mean, there's a strength difference between the two, and if you're Bishop Sla-Baugh, sometimes you got to let your opponent throw you around a little bit in order to tire them out.
It goes back to also getting that feel, too. Like, once you have a good foundation of defense and you're comfortable there, let your opponent move you around, kind of feel and see where he's going to, but it seems like Sla-Baugh is just laying on his back. And I mentioned earlier in the first round, maybe he sees something that we don't. Maybe he's trying to play the long game. You see him attacking the Kimura here. I don't know if he's going to be able to get the angle, but it's definitely something that's going to keep his opponent thinking as he's on top there.
It's going to keep him honest, absolutely. Dominic Guyo has just been in top position or in a dominant position this entire fight.
Guyo would be smart if he just dragged his opponent against the cage here. So if he puts Sla-Baugh's back against the cage, that kind of prevents the Kimura lock from being able to be extended, and then he can work out of it. I think he's still in a solid position here to advance.
Heavy punch by Guyo. Back to the body.
Guyo just throwing that leather, man. They're not the most explosive punches, but standing next to the cage, you can definitely hear the impact that they have.
Ooh, grab a cage by Sla-Baugh.
Referee definitely gave him a warning for grabbing the cage there.
Dominic is just kind of nickel and diming these rounds.
Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Why put yourself in a position to possibly be in danger? He's in a good position here. He's on top, in guard, pressuring, has head control, has it bearing his head in his opponent's head. I don't see the reason to try for anything else. You know, pepper, land your punches when you can.
Left-right punch again by Dominic. Guyo again, heavy ground and pound.
Great job passing on top there by Guyo, taking advantage of that split second his opponent broke his guard.
Dominic Guyo very active in the top position. Like you said, he's not doing power. He's just he's just getting points.
It's not pretty, but it's extremely effective, and I guarantee you it does not feel good to be up under that.
Absolutely. Midwest Training Center, there's been several UFC fighters that have come from there. Chase Beebe, Clay Guida, Dan Stidgen, amongst many, many others. It's a renowned gym here in the Chicagoland area.
Mike, you have always been quite the encyclopedia when it comes to MMA.
No notes on that. No notes on that.
I'm a fighter, and you know more than me. I should be ashamed.
Yeah, mental illness, Dave. Mental illness.
But that's going to be another solid round there for Guyo. Once again, like if you're Sla-Baugh, you're down 2 rounds.
Little sense of urgency.
Little sense of urgency. You got to go out there. You got to put it all on the line. What he's been doing up to this point is not working. So we got to make some adjustments on the stool. And when you're a professional, that's how you tell the great professionals from the somewhat decent fighters. Can you make those adjustments in that 60 seconds that you have to?
If you're going to take a risk, now is the time. If you're Bishop Sla-Baugh, beginning round 3. Third round, and we are started. Both fighters to the center of the ring. Overhand left hook connects. Dominic Guyo connects with a jab and a left-right punch, and back to a takedown is Dominic Guyo.
Guyo a bit deceptive with his striking. He lures you in on his feet to make you think he wants to bang, and then as soon as you return, he changes levels and gets that takedown. I think that's a beautiful game plan, and that's going to keep him always a step ahead of his opponent.
Well, we had talked about a sense of urgency. If you're Sla-Baugh, what is your advice in this position?
So we saw most of the fight Sla-Baugh has been on his back. I wasn't at first. I wasn't sure if it's is it because Guyo is keeping him there, or is it that he sees something that we don't? Last round we saw him try to lock in the Kimura trap. We saw him try to go for a few leg locks. So those positions are there. Guyo on top here, just laying it on.
Cranking for guillotine. Cranking for guillotine is Dominic Guyo, and back to his feet is Bishop Sla-Baugh.
Is he going to go back against the cage and look for the standing guillotine? Look for Guyo to just kind of extend his hips more into the guillotine.
Look at Guyo. He's actually breathing. He's taking his time and breathing while squeezing heavy punches to the body. Again to the face is Dominic Guyo.
Fundamental striking there. Body, head, keeping that overhook of his opponent as well, too. Now, if I'm Sla-Baugh, I got my back against the wall. I got an underhook. I got to circle out here.
A head kick by Bishop Sla-Baugh barely misses the mark of Dominic Guyo. Heavy punch coming in, and once again back to the clinch is Dominic Guyo.
The clinch has kind of been Guyo's way of seeing the entire fight here.
Well, when you've got 13 years of wrestling like Dominic has, that's just kind of what it is you do.
Going back to that single leg, he was able to kind of scoop the leg out last time, transitioning single to double.
Grabbing on the fence again is Sla-Baugh, and a huge slam by Dominic Guyo.
You know, we saw the second cage grab there by Sla-Baugh. However, it didn't affect Guyo's determination.
Give him a little bit more torque.
Guyo right back here in guard.
I think that's frustration on Sla-Baugh's end.
For sure. I mean, I don't think he's intentionally doing it. It just seems, hey, you have no other option. You know, I'm going to go down, and I just think it's a reflex more than anything.
Left-right punch by Guyo again, still in top position, and within earshot of his own corner as well.
Sla-Baugh needs to do a better job here on bottom, maybe getting his feet against his opponent's hips. So we saw Guyo just pressuring with his hip pressure. Your Sla-Baugh, create some separation here.
You know, little fact, Sla-Baugh actually has got a fight against Jacob Kindig, half of our last main event at APFC 3. 2018. I tell you, Dominic Guyo is got a lot of just maturity. I mean, for somebody just beginning his career, he's incredibly mature. Definitely,
I like what I saw. He was definitely thinking himself through those positions and not just reacting. I think that's going to carry him a long way.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it was. You know, if it's not broke, why fix it? I mean, that's what we saw from beginning to end. We saw Bishop Sla-Baugh work the entire time he worked.
Just worked, chipping away here on the replay. We have he attacked that guillotine. The position was there, however, the finish wasn't, and that's what I'm most impressed here by Guyo. He got the position, but he didn't try to force the finish and burn himself out. Then he got back to what he was known: nice scoop double leg into the guard position, where he just kind of chipped away with ground and pound.
Yeah, Sla-Baugh, it seemed like the wrestling was able to nullify his jiu-jitsu. He had a couple really good attempts. I don't think that's enough to sway the judges in regards to just the amount of time that Dominic was on top of him. But why don't we send it to our ring announcer, Michael Hansen, and we're going to make this one official.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of action, we go to the scorecards for decision. Our judges at cage side scored the contest 30-27, 30-27, and 30-26. All for your winner by unanimous decision, the Visigoth, Dominic Guyo.
Fantastic. We got Dominic Guyo with a unanimous decision over Dominic Guyo. And I don't think there was any surprises there.
Impressive victory there, man. He knew what he wanted to do and he got to it right away. Came out banging, went right to the wrestling and controlled the majority of the fight.
Very mature Dominic Guyo. I think that gentleman has got a very, very bright future. Michael Hansen is also in the cage. I don't know if he was watching or not. Leaving it between fights. Here's our replay.
Here we go on the replay. We just saw Guyo getting right to his wrestling. Strong double legs here that he set up with his striking. Anytime he took his opponent back, he never let him rest there, dragged him right down to the mat. Now, when he got the position here, just slick ground and pound, taking every advantage and every opening that his opponent gave him to strike to advance position. Beautiful jab there, strong jab, but then right back to his wrestling. Sticking to the fundamentals here was the key to victory for Guyo.
And why don't we get to fight number 2 with our ring announcer, Michael Hansen.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to shine with our next bout of the evening. And now, please welcome, making his way to the cage first, from Naperville, Illinois, Jake Rao.
Representing Ricardo Lamas and Fight Ready in Arizona. When we talked to Jake in regards to his key to victory, he says, I got to get that knockout.
Having Ricardo Lamas in your corner is definitely going to help you, right, if that's your coach you're working with every day, too.
Absolutely. This gentleman is a D1 athlete that actually played baseball at Northern Illinois, not our first Division I athlete that we've seen in the APFC cage.
And you happened to mention him earlier, man. We got a lot of crossover athletes here. I mean, but that just kind of speaks to the attention that APFC draws, right? Just MMA in general. As the sport progresses, you start to see a lot of athletes coming into the sport, and that means for way more exciting fights.
You're going to see Roman Salazar also in the corner. He's actually very talented as well, along with Ricardo Lamas. Ricardo, obviously a multi-fight UFC veteran with many fight of the night knockout bonuses.
This guy definitely, if you paint a picture of what you think an MMA fighter looks like in your mind, it's right here walking into the cage right now.
He's got all the ink and all the muscles, that's for sure. Yeah, we're going to start this night hot. You know, very good crowd. Beginning of APFC 4 here in Hammond, Indiana. Rob Hines doing the final checks before Jake Rao walks into the cage.
I'm excited to see Rao's explosiveness, you know, see if that physique actually transfers into the cage. And sometimes you see it very well, but then sometimes we know it can go the other way. You never kind of know what you're getting. Sometimes.
Yes, sometimes that muscle takes a lot of energy.
Please welcome, making his way to the APFC cage from Terre Haute, Indiana, Dennis Brannon.
Dennis Brannon out of Maniacal Fight Systems out of Terre Haute, Indiana. He believes his key to victory is speed, and when you see this gentleman, it's a tale of redemption, a person trying to turn his life around.
That's always exciting. I mean, sportsmen and theater are very synonymous, right? People carry their stories into this cage with them. I'm excited to see how he's going to come out here and prove himself tonight.
When we talked in our pre-fight meeting, I said, you know, what pulled you over to the MMA? And he said, man, I got to stop doing what I used to do, set goals, make myself accountable, and what better way than getting a date set with the possibility of getting punched in the face.
Whereas that can be nervous for most people, but for someone like Anthony here, that can be exciting. It's a moment to look forward to. It's something that he's going to push himself to and rise to the occasion.
Mike Gilman, his head coach, applying the grease. Dennis Brannon. Yeah, that's what MMA is, all walks of life. You get people from every part of the working class, and everybody tends to get along. It's the gym friends are oftentimes unexplainable. Yeah,
definitely one of the most diverse groups of people I would ever say, man. And that's the beauty of the sport.
All right, our second fight is underway, and Michael Hansen is going to take it away.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the APFC Light Heavyweight Division, sponsored by 18th Street Brewery. And your referee in charge is Josh Stewart. And now, introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black, he stands 5 feet 9 inches tall, official weight 202.6 pounds. Coming in tonight, making his debut from Naperville, Illinois, Rao. And across the cage, his opponent fighting out of the red corner. Wearing black trunks, he stands 5 feet 9 inches tall. Official weight 200.9 pounds. Coming tonight with no victories, with 1 defeat, from Terre Haute, Indiana, Dennis Brannon.
We've got Dennis Brannon in these straight black trunks, board shorts, and Jake Rao in the black spandex. We got the cage being locked, and we're about to start fight number 2.
Off to a good start here so far. We saw our last victory by Guyo. I think this one's just going to build on to the hype here.
Touch of gloves by both fighters, with a feint and a jab by Brannon. Circling in and out with a kick to the legs is Brannon.
We can see Brannon is comfortable kind of staying in the distance here.
You can kind of see he's got his little movement. Jake Rao, the overhand right by Jake Rao, barely misses the mark.
And I think we know what Rao is looking for. Just kind of staying solid, keeping it simple. Marching forward, though, maybe looking to counter and just land that big right hand.
I think Rao is just, heavy left-right punch. Counter as well by Dennis Brannon. And Brannon dropped. Covering into guard is Brannon, and Rao is
Rao wasted no time getting on top of his opponent there. Landed that big right hand. Followed up, punch after punch after punch.
I tell you what, Dennis Brannon wasn't happy with I think he was not happy with himself rather than his performance. He got caught one time, and Rao very experienced in jumping on top of your opponent. Why let somebody recover when you don't have to?
No, for sure, man. Brannon definitely was coming in, probably got a little bit too aggressive. You saw he came out pawing initially at first, looking for the jab. Kind of left his chin out hanging, and all it took was that big right hand for Rao to land. His opponent goes down. Rao wastes no time jumping on top of him.
And I can tell you, on Brannon's end, there is no shame to get in the ring the way he did. Anyone that steps through these cages, you got to have a lot of respect for. He got caught with a heavy punch, and he had an opponent that was experienced enough to know to jump on top of him.
That's the name of the game, man. Sometimes you're the hammer, sometimes you're the nail.
That's life.
And
that's life. You got to roll with it.
Brannon was the nail tonight, but next time, maybe he'll come out on top. But impressive right hand there by Rao.
Man, Rao is still going. Both of these guys. Like, even Brannon, he still wants to go. Either way, let's send to our ring announcer, Michael Hansen, and make this one official.
Ladies and gentlemen, our referee, Josh Stewart, called a stop to the contest at 48 seconds of round number 1 for your winner by knockout, Jake Rao.
Fantastic performance by Jake Rao. Kind of stalked his opponent, watched his movements, and threw that overhand right.
I think Rao knew exactly what he was going to do coming in here tonight. Stayed patient, waited for his moment, and the second he saw that chin, capitalized.
Ricardo Lamas, he's got a few guys on tonight. Yeah, you got a good leader. When you got somebody that's never asking you to do something that they have not done in the past, it's always a good step forward. There's a replay.
So here we go. That big right hand lands for Rao. I think that's what he was waiting for all night. Wasted no time hopping on top of his opponent and just landing hammer fist after hammer fist. The ref really had no other option there but to call this one.
He didn't, and to Brannon's credit, he continued to try to fight. He just had issues working through it. Jake Rao wins this fight by a knockout over Dennis Brannon. And we're going to start our third fight of the evening with Michael Hansen.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready for our next bout of the evening. And now please welcome, making his way to the cage first, from Country Club Hills, Illinois, Scuba, Steve Collins.
Steve Collins, an absolute professional when handling himself both inside and outside of the ring. He's got wins over Milan Djordjanovic, who was the Serbian national Greco-Roman champion.
That's a high caliber athlete to have a win on. If you want to have a win on your record, that's definitely a good name to have. So expect to see him come out here, be explosive, very athletic kid. I think he's going to kind of take his time. Something's telling me he's going to take his time and just wait for his moment.
Steve Collins believes his key to victory is to stand and take advantage of angles. When I asked about his opponent, he says he throws wild, and I need to make sure I see that when it's coming. His athletic background includes 7 years of wrestling. He is a strength and conditioning coach at South Suburban College and TF North. This guy continues to give back to the community. I admire him as a person and as a fighter.
Gentlemen, please welcome, making his way to the APFC cage, fighting out of Canton, Ohio, Jermaine, the Shinobi Anthony.
By way of Victory Martial Arts, Jermaine Anthony believes his key to victory is anything, anywhere. When you look at his record, his 4 wins, he's got 3 submissions and 1 knockout, and the confidence coming out of him in that pre-fight interview was just came right out of him.
Hey, confidence is half the battle. It takes a lot to step in there and get in that cage. You know, confidence can definitely be the difference between winning and losing as a fighter.
In 2017, he started training, and his training partners include Terry Blackwell and Drew Schottheimer. When I talked about his opponent, he says, man, I know he's a striker, and I can't wait to mix it up. When you've got 2 guys promising to keep it on their feet, both saying that that is their key to victory, it ensures a fantastic evening.
Yeah, but sometimes you get in there and one of those punches go waving past your face and you feel like you need to change things up, so we'll see. I'm expecting an exciting fight, but we know both of these fighters have a wealth of experience, and this fight could go anywhere, and it's going to be exciting nonetheless.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the APFC lightweight division, sponsored by the Indiana Marines. And your referee in charge when the bell rings is Josh Stewart. And now, introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black trunks, he stands 5 feet 10 inches tall. Official weight, 156.4 pounds. He comes in tonight with a record, 3 victories with 2 defeats. Fighting out of Country Club Hills, Illinois, Scuba, Steve Collins. And across the cage, his opponent fighting out of the red corner. Wearing gray with red letters, he stands 5 feet 10 inches tall. Official weight, 154.7 pounds. He comes in tonight with a record, 5 victories with 4 defeats. Fighting out of Canton, Ohio, Jermaine, the Shinobi Anthony.
We've got Steve Collins in the red corner in the black board shorts, white lettering. Jermaine Anthony in the black spandex with multicolor writing. Both of these two have not broken eye contact since they got into the cage.
Intensity, intensity, intensity.
Josh Stewart, our third man in the ring, and we have started fight number 3. Touch of gloves by both fighter. Steve Collins quick to take center cage.
Anthony just pawing that jab out there. Not exactly throwing it, but maybe he looks to just kind of stay at distance.
Scuba Steve Collins, center ring. He does not like to give that up. And the few times I've seen him fight live, he likes to stay center and push his opponents off of that center line.
It's hard to fight moving backwards. You know, I've seen Anthony a few times, but it seems like he wants to stay on the outside, but within doing so, he does want to make sure he does that in the center of the cage, as opposed to having his back against the cage. As this fight goes on, we don't know if the takedown's going to play into it, but having your back against the cage can definitely be a disadvantage.
Collins downloading the movement of Jermaine Anthony.
Little filling out process here.
Kick to the head by Collins and a double leg right into his own corner.
That was a nice sequence of events there by Collins. Throwing the high left leg kick, but then also changing level and going to the takedown. So as you see, if you're Anthony, you're like your opponent, he's throwing everything at you pretty much. And it's going to be hard to guess his next move.
Very intelligent move by Steve Collins, keeping the fight in his own corner. You've got Danny Gilbert, and you got CFFC signed talent in Bo Samaniego.
Collins looking to step over here. Maybe look to see if he can maybe even take his back.
He's got a mount. It looks like he's back or mount. His legs are in a fantastic position.
They're going to settle here in half guard, full guard, excuse me, full mount here for Collins. A great position to start off here in the first round.
Collins taking his time, getting his breathing in. Always comes in fantastic shape. The guy has got a gas tank that does not stop.
Good job here by Collins settling into the position and not rushing. Just making sure he has good hip position and maybe looking to lock up a hand to see if he can maybe throw some strikes here. Perhaps a key lock going on the right side there.
Steve Collins keep maintaining top position.
Posting his head, which tells me he's maybe going to look for the arm triangle.
Threading his arm underneath Jermaine Anthony. Oh, nope. Jermaine Anthony pops up and raining down punches is Steve Collins. Covering up is Jermaine Anthony.
Collins looking away as he throws punches.
Looking at the referee, telling him to stop it with a little smile. Oh, and a nice transition by Jermaine Anthony.
Anthony was in a bad position there, almost found a way out. I don't know if that was on the half of Collins showboating a little bit, or maybe he saw that opening.
Steve Collins taunting Jermaine Anthony at the end of that round.
Nothing but confidence here coming from Collins.
And if you look at Steve Collins talking to his coaches, there's something may have happened between the two that Collins is not happy about. And he's discussing it with them, also refusing the stool.
Here on the replay, we see that switch kick that Collins landed initially. It looks like he was looking for. Didn't get it that time, transitioned to the double leg. And now a little styling and profiling as he's on top, just throwing those punches, looking for the ref, literally looking for the ref to stop the fight.
Like I said, Collins always in fantastic shape. Something took place that didn't sit well with him, because generally speaking, he's one of the guys that handles his business and goes back to his corner. I think Jermaine Anthony's going to have to change his game plan up a little bit.
Yeah, he was looking to maybe stay on the outside, maybe pressure Collins a little bit. You know, see how Collins responds to being on the opposite end of being the bully here.
maybe throw at the same time. You're right. Yeah.
Just to kind of throw off the pace of the fight, because I feel like Collins, if the confidence doesn't show you, I feel like Collins feels like he has Anthony's number at this stage of the fight.
Left right punch by Collins, back to a clinch, and as you had said, switch and a reverse, and Jermaine Anthony's got his back against the cage.
Collins settling here against the cage. Initially was looking for the leg attack, but with Anthony draped over his head, you definitely want to watch for guillotine. So good job by Collins transitioning and getting that hand control.
Former Ignite Fights champion, Steve Collins, pushing Jermaine Anthony against the cage. Back to a single leg.
Stepping over the leg here. Maybe he should attack that underhook he has up top a little bit more, but maybe he's just comfortable getting to the legs.
And Collins pushing Anthony against the cage.
Maintaining control of that opposite hand is Collins, so he can't expect any unexpected strikes from Anthony. Just kind of tying him up, wrapping him up, and just smothering him. Anthony has to be very uncomfortable here. He needs to do something to perhaps get his back off of the cage or transition to a takedown himself.
Ooh, a dump by Steve Collins. Jermaine Anthony again finds his back.
Collins dumps right into half guard. Good position here, smothering Anthony more so. Now we saw in the last round, Collins was looking to maybe transition to a head and arm triangle as he was kind of tying up Anthony's hands. But Anthony doing a good job here just keeping Collins close.
Collins nickel and diming on his punches and stealing the clock back into a mount is Steve Collins.
Sneaky job stepping over to that full mount by Collins. Now, are we going to see a stare here as he lands these punches?
The flexibility of Jermaine Anthony kind of prevents that, I think.
Collins taking his time now, looking for the one shot as opposed to throwing just a barrage of punches as we saw last time.
We got Josh Stewart, the referee, looking in, giving verbal directions to Jermaine Anthony.
Anthony just covering up here. He needs to find a way to maybe attack Collins' mount, attack his knees to see if he can create distance.
That's it. They weren't overwhelming power shots. They were consistent punches, and Jermaine Anthony was not finding a way out of that.
You know, for Collins, hey, sometimes keeping it simple is the way to go. You know, we saw him get the mount a few times in the fight. The first time he got the mount, just went crazy throwing a barrage of punches, but nothing significant.
What a show of athleticism by that gentleman right there, Steve Collins.
Here we have the replay. Collins right here on this body locks and just dumps Anthony down to the mat. Right in the half guard, advances positions, takes his time, landing punch after punch, looking for the punches, which I like better here in this round, and eventually got the finish.
I don't think Collins took a single punch in that fight. That was a very dominant performance.
You know what? Now that you say it, that may be the first time I think I've seen that. You know,
he's got a 3-2 record, but it's very deceiving because he only takes hard fights.
And he had his moment to shine here tonight. You know, to kind of show off his skills. I mean, his skills, his confidence. He had the swagger walking into the cage. He very much owned the cage.
Well, our ring announcer is going to make this official. Michael Hansen.
Ladies and gentlemen, our referee, Josh Stewart, called the stop to the contest at 2 minutes, 21 seconds of round number 2 for your winner by TKO, Scuba Steve Collins.
Very dominant performance by Steve Collins, getting his 4th win.
We saw a little bit of everything here from Collins tonight. Throwing the nice leg kicks. Hands look clean. His takedown and wrestling game was superb. His
maturity as well. I mean, he's somebody that's got a very bright future in the sport. And our third bout, Steve Collins, by way of knockout over Jermaine Anthony.
Here we go on the replay. You see Steve Collins came in with the swagger, throwing that left leg kick, transitioning to the takedown. And that was pretty much the name of the game here for Collins. Land some strikes, get the takedown, get that mount position. You know, styling and profiling the first time, didn't get the finish, kept it a lot simpler on the finish. The second time around and was able to get it. Beautiful dump here by Collins on Anthony. Once again, gets to that mount position, takes his time here, looks for a shot. The ref has no other option but to stop the fight.
Steve Collins, second round knockout over Jermaine Anthony. And that concludes our third bout. We're going to send it back to Michael Hansen to start fight number 4.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready for our next bout of the evening. And now please welcome, making his way to the cage first, from DeKalb, Illinois, Charlie Monkey Toes Nellinger.
Monkey Toes, David Evans. Charlie Nellinger, by way of Dominion Mixed Martial Arts and Prime Muay Thai, believes that his key to victory in this fight is to keep the fight standing, because I know my opponent is a very, very good wrestler.
Monkey Toes, man, what a name, as you said. We saw him at our last APFC. Man, this kid has a really, really slick stand-up game. Punches, kicks, knees, throws, everything from everywhere. But it's very beautiful and technical as well, too. I'm excited to see his display here tonight.
Yeah, he's got very difficult angles to counter against. It's not something that you can train for unless you've got somebody that's a high-end Taekwondo student that you're sparring with. Very durable chin as well.
And I believe his last fight, he dealt with a wrestler, too. I'm not sure if he got the nod or not, but it was a very good performance. So I expect him to make those adjustments going into this fight.
He tends to earn his money the hard way, and that is by way of tiring you out by way of his chin being granite.
Hey, man, that's a calling card for some. You know, if it works, it works. That's the beautiful thing about MMA. There's no right way to do it.
Yeah, no, very, very tough. Monkey Toes is like one of those Brazilian-type throwback nicknames where it's childhood trauma associated with your name. You know, nothing handsome, you know, the pretty, the handsome guy. It's always the ugly person. Yeah. Monkey Toes.
There's got to be a story behind it.
You know, right? There has to be. And that's something given. That is something given to you. So Charlie Nellinger enters the ring with black trunks and yellow trim.
And now, please welcome, making his way to the APFC cage, from Naperville, Illinois, Taylor Morrison.
The tale of the same city, with Taylor Morrison by way of MMA stop, although in Joliet, but Taylor lives in Naperville. His key to victory, he said, I just have to show up. I just have to be there. I know my opponent's got lots of experience, but this is my 5th fight.
Very stoic as he kind of walks out to the cage, and I expect that to carry over maybe into his fight game.
Yes, you've got Dan Mulroney in his corner, who is a black belt under Sean Chitwood. Yeah, he's got a solid gym. MMA stop out of Joliet. They've been around better part of a decade and have produced quite a few fighters.
Morrison seems very focused, and he's definitely going to need that focus, as his opponent is going to be throwing a barrage of attacks from very different angles here.
Lots of pressure.
Very hard to deal with, and if he can stay calm, cool, and composed, that could possibly see him through this entire fight.
Yeah, Taylor Morrison. They've got like experience. You know, oftentimes when you've got a guy like Morrison, you know, that's got maybe a little bit of a lopsided record, but he's got a lot of fights. That experience carries over. But Nellinger also has got quite a few fights that of himself. I'm excited about this one.
You know, despite records, there's nothing like just getting that time in the cage.
100%.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the APFC Flyweight Division, sponsored by Third Coast T-shirts. And your referee in charge is Josh Stewart. And now, introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black and yellow, he stands 5 feet 7 inches tall, official weight 125.1 pounds. Coming in tonight with a record, 2 victories with 4 defeats, from DeKalb, Illinois, Charlie Monkey Toes Nellinger. And across the cage, his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, wearing solid black trunks. He stands 5 feet 5 inches tall. Official weight 125.6 pounds. Coming tonight with a record, 1 victory with 3 defeats, from Naperville, Illinois, Taylor Morrison.
We've got Taylor Morrison in the straight black, I want to say basketball shorts almost, and Charlie Nellinger in the black and yellow Muay Thai trunks. We've got Josh Stewart, third person in the ring. And we start round one. Touch of gloves by both fighters. Circling is Nellinger.
Here we go. Nellinger looking light on his feet as he comes out. Morrison just marching forward.
Morrison marching forward, left-right punch, and forcing Nellinger against the cage.
So it's no secret that Morrison wants to come out here and wrestle right away.
Nellinger quick to grab the back of Taylor Morrison.
Attacking the underhook has Morrison kind of locked with his frame there on the left leg, on the left side there. Excuse me, Mike.
Looks almost like he's transitioning to either an armbar or a triangle right now in terms of Nellinger.
He's kind of at a bit of a weird angle to look for that triangle, which we would think he would go right to. But Morrison just kind of staying compact, which tells me he's very physically strong as they're in here in this scramble.
Taylor Morrison on top swarming. He's just been non-stop with his energy on top of Charlie Nellinger. We're going to see what kind of gas tank this gentleman has.
I think Morrison definitely understands that it doesn't have to be pretty. You know, nothing about him screams flair. He's coming out here, he's getting right to his game. He's throwing punches when he can throw punches, not putting himself in danger. But Nellinger possibly attacking that armbar here.
Nice block by Taylor Morrison. And Nellinger continuing to post some offense from the bottom position.
I think we see why Nellinger's name is Monkey Toes there, the way he kind of had that triangle locked up, using his feet as if they were hands on his back here.
Little omoplata attempt by Nellinger. Hammering punches is Morrison. Morrison has not stopped since he entered this cage.
Just keeping going. Now, the only thing, if I'm Morrison, I'd make an adjustment here. His pressure's good, but he's keeping his head down. And that's why he keeps falling into some of these traps that Nellinger is setting. Perhaps the arm bar, the triangle that we saw.
I will tell you what, as active as Morrison is on the top, Nellinger is as on the bottom.
This is very much the most 50-50 ground fight that I've seen here. You know, Morrison, he's on his back, which we think he will be losing, but he's constantly setting traps, looking for position. Excuse me, Nellinger. And Morrison on top, just...
Look at Nellinger, like an inverted, I don't know, is he looking for a inverted triangle?
Inverted triangle here. I think Morrison's going to be able to slide his head out. You know, just
a la Toby Amata.
Marching through everything that Nellinger throws at him.
Yeah, a la Toby Amata and George Masvidal. We got Nellinger continuing his attacks from the bottom while Morrison is peppering the head of Charlie Nellinger. Nellinger again going for some inversion.
Man, Nellinger just literally throwing everything, trap after trap, throwing the up kick, staying busy off his back. I like to see that. But
I don't know if both of their gas tanks can maintain this type of activity.
You know, I think you might be right, Mike. That may be the determining factor in this fight here.
We just saw a whole 3 fights worth of moves in one round.
Morrison just sticking to his ground and pound, sticking to his wrestling game. Nellinger sticking to his calling card, throwing everything from everywhere, takedowns, punches, kicks, everything.
You got Danny Mulroney in the corner of Taylor Morrison. You got Tyler Scott and Brian Ankins. That's who we're. Brian Ankins in the corner of Nellinger. I tell you, Morrison does not look like he's breathing hard. I wonder if he can go this hard for 3 rounds.
Everything about that kid is just calm, cool, collected, get into my game, you know, and then they're the antithesis of each other. Nellinger coming out with the flare, punches.
Round 2 starts.
Great contrast of styles here.
Kick to the body, Nellinger marching forward. Ooh, clash of heads. Counter punching is Nellinger. In for a double leg takedown again is Morrison.
Morrison marching right into that takedown. He says, hey, I don't want any part of this standing game here, getting back to what worked for him the first round. Now, we saw a lot of traps from Nellinger being thrown off of his back here. We saw the triangle. We saw a few armbar attempts as well here. So if you're Morrison, you definitely want to make sure you're on guard, just watching for everything Nellinger's throwing up here.
Nellinger continuing to have these strange angles from the bottom, just throwing everything he can at Morrison.
Morrison staying calm through the fire.
Ooh, going.
Inverted armbar attempt. Use the cage to launch his hips in position for an armbar potentially is Nellinger. Into a crucifix. I feel like Nellinger's like button mashing here if he's playing a video game, just throwing one thing after the other. I don't think these techniques have ever been tied together in that way.
No, if you're a current UFC rostered veteran, I hope you're at home with a pen and paper taking notes on this. Nellinger very active from the bottom. Morrison continuing the top pressure.
Morrison doing a good job using his knee to kind of block off the left arm there, Nellinger, so he could strike.
Constantly in a bridge is Nellinger as well. And on the back, Morrison takes it back.
On the back, he might be under the throat there. It looks like he could maybe attack this finish. Nellinger doing a great job attacking the top hand.
Defending. Yeah, Nellinger is defending, and we're belly down in a rear naked choke with Taylor Morrison on top, and there's a tap.
That's gonna be the finish.
What a fantastic finish. You know what? In wrestling, they call it funk. When somebody puts themselves in a bad position just to create something new, they call it funk. I think Nellinger may have a little too much funk.
Little bit too much funk. Maybe stick to the fundamentals a bit. You know, I work with Duke Rufus quite a bit, and he uses the phrase KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. When it comes to striking, and I'm not calling Nellinger stupid by any means. That's the saying. It's to keep it simple when it comes to striking, when it comes to grappling. And that's what we saw from Morrison here. He got into some awkward positions, some positions I don't even know if I would react well in. But he stayed calm, stuck to his game plan, stayed to the fundamentals, was able to get to the back position, get back control, and got that left arm deep under the throat of Nellinger and secured the finish. Beautiful rear naked choke finish by Morrison.
Morrison's still not breathing heavy, I might add. Still not breathing heavy as Morrison.
Yeah, very stoic throughout this entire night, man, from the walkout all the way through the fight.
We're going to make this fight official.
Ladies and gentlemen, our referee, Josh Stewart, called the stop to the contest at 2 minutes of round number 2 for the winner by submission via rear naked choke, Taylor Morrison.
We got Taylor Morrison moving up his record to 2-3 by way of submission. His first fight was against a highly decorated purple belt as well, and but he won by knockout. Now he's got a knockout win and a submission win. Danny Mulroney's doing a fantastic job over there at MMA Stop.
Very impressed by Morrison. Just watching that fight, there's definitely a lot to build off of. Here we have the replay. Morrison getting that rear naked choke finish, man. Went through a lot there to get that finish, but was able to just kind of stay calm, cool, collected.
It was almost like a Tasmanian devil. He just never stopped. And Nellinger as well. Nellinger just kept giving strange angle after strange angle, which would normally give a lot of people fits. But that concludes our fight, and Taylor Morrison wins by rear naked choke over Charlie Nellinger. Our ring announcer, Michael Hansen.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready for our next bout of the evening. And now, please welcome, making his way to the cage first, from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Mikey Rolator.
Michael Rolator, representing Rufus Sport out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. When we talked to him about his key to victory, he said, I need to make my opponent uncomfortable. When I asked what he knew about Sazan, he said, I know he's really good at jiu-jitsu, but my 10 years of wrestling, 3-time state qualifier, state qualifier, and 1.5 years of training is going to nullify everything.
Having Duke Rufus, Chris Wright in your corner, man, that's a phenomenal corner to have. I mentioned Rufus Sport earlier. They're a team that not only just believes in striking, they don't just believe in jiu-jitsu, they believe in putting everything together, and that's what I expect to see here tonight.
We've also got Scott Cushman in his corner. All that wrestling, when you talk about 10 years of wrestling and being a qualifier, you know, 4 times, it's just, there's a world of difference in terms of athlete in regards to somebody coming off the street without that wrestling pedigree.
You know, being an All-American high school wrestler myself, you know, this is no bias, but you know they say once you wrestle, everything else in life gets easier. Word to Dan Gable.
I'm glad you picked up that segue, David Evans.
Making his way to the APFC cage from Tehran, Albania, Sazan Zaimi.
Sazan Zaimi out of Dennis Dombrow's school, 3D. He believes his key to victory is an armbar off of his back due to his opponent being a high-level wrestler. When we asked about his athletic background, he said, I moved 7 years ago from Albania, not speaking the language of English, and I came here to better myself. He's a blue belt in jiu-jitsu just after 2 years of training.
Zaimi, standing at 6'3", has a 5-inch reach advantage.
We call that championship height, my man.
Championship height. However, we normally see the advantages on our feet, but that can very much be an advantage for him on the ground, especially if he's going against a wrestler, so we can expect to see him on his back. However, he has a lot of room, which means a lot of leverage to kind of work with and set up.
I mentioned 2 years training, and he's a blue belt. When I said, man, it seems a little fast, and the response was, yes, but I live in the gym. You don't understand, I don't go home.
Hey, he's a gym rat. If he's there putting in the work, putting in the time, he's earned it.
Yeah, I said he's there 2 to 3 times a day. You know, I asked about overtraining. He's like, I don't believe in that. So we're going to see. Our ring announcer, Michael Hansen, is going to start our next bout.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the APFC lightweight division, sponsored by Super 8 Hotels. And your referee in charge after the bell is Rob Hines. And now, introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black and yellow, he stands 5 feet 9 inches tall. Official weight, 153 pounds. Coming tonight with a record, 1 victory with no defeats. Fighting out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Mikey Rolator. And across the cage, his opponent fighting out of the red corner, wearing red when black. He stands 6 feet 3 inches tall. Official weight, 155 1/2 pounds. He comes in tonight with a record, 1 victory with no defeats. From Tehran, Albania, Sazan Zaimi.
We've got Michael Rolator in the black and yellow trunks. And on the other side, we've got Sazan Zaimi in the red and black. David, we saw Sazan jumping up and down in regards to when they were announcing his name. It certainly had a Muay Thai feel to it, while the always stoic Michael Rolator stayed in that wrestling position. No touch of gloves?
No touch of gloves there by Zaimi.
Ooh,
Rolator looking to get right to the takedown, not wasting time here.
Rolator, clinch. Ooh, heavy knee by Zaimi. Both fighters separate. Teep to the face by Zaimi. Closing the distance is Rolator. Backing again, staying in that mid-range is Rolator.
Nice jab there by Zaimi. Stepping in, but also stepping out. Stepping in, stepping out. Rolator times that double leg, gets to where he wants to be in this fight.
Double leg takedown by Rolator on top position, and we're seeing the length of Zaimi.
Yes, using that jab, picking the spot, stepping in, stepping out. I mean, that looked beautiful. It looked very technical. I expect to maybe see how he can maybe get back to his feet now. We know he said he had the reach advantage, was comfortable working on the ground, but I just want to see his striking more.
Absolutely, absolutely. Zaimi on bottom. Rolator not very active right now, just getting his position.
Establishing the guard, settling in the position is Rolator. Keeping his head over his opponent's head so he can't maybe throw anything up, and just kind of looking to control.
Rolator very active in the bottom, or Zaimi very active in the bottom.
Good job creating space there by Zaimi and just pushing off those hips of Rolator as he tries to come in.
Rolator stalking Zaimi. Referee Rob Hines looking on.
Rolator looking to punch his way back into the guard of Zaimi there.
Zaimi very active on the bottom, very difficult up kick, and I think it's is that a warning? I'm not sure.
No, I believe up kicks are allowed. I mean, at 6'3", Zaimi can throw that up kick pretty much from anywhere there and land it.
I'm going to tell you the mid-range is going to be very difficult for Rolator to deal with. Him wearing Zaimi down a little bit right now is definitely to his advantage.
Nice pass there by Rolator, just scooping the leg up and getting the side guard. Zaimi a little funky as well off of his back. Looking to attack the head, perhaps a triangle.
Looks like Rolator is trying to continue to pressure, slips out. Rolator is more defending on top than he is amounting any actual offense.
Just kind of holding position there as Rolator on top. You know, he got in a little bit of trouble there, almost a triangle attempt from Zaimi on the bottom. But Rolator just sticking to controlling position for position.
I'll tell you, in terms of control, Rolator has definitely, the clock is definitely tilted in his favor. He's going to have to figure out this size difference, though.
Yeah, this is turning into the basic wrestler versus striker matchup. Zaimi was starting to maybe catch his pace on his feet here, as we saw that jab, stepping in, stepping out. Rolator ate a few of those and was like, hey, no, I'm going to get to my game. I'm going to get to that double leg, and was able to get the fight down to the ground. Now, as they got to the ground here, Zaimi, we saw he has a very good active guard and was able to kind of work off of his guard, but the wrestling was the name of the game in this first round here for Rolator. Just controlling position for position. Beautiful up kick by Zaimi.
The warning from the referee was grabbing of the fence. That's what it was. Okay. Rob Hines always on top of his business. You got Dennis Dombrow, Javier Palomo, and Chris Zaini in Sazan's corner. Dombrow giving his final instructions. Sazini and Rolator. Getting ready to start round two. Rolator in the black and yellow trunks. Sazini in the black Muay Thai, or the red and black Muay Thai trunks. Both fighters centering. Head kick by Zaimi.
Rolator coming in behind the jab.
Overhand right, and a takedown by Rolander.
Rolander coming in behind that jab, throwing that overhand right and getting right to his takedown. Wasted no time. He felt the rhythm of Zaimi in that first round and did not let him establish that at all.
Rolander figuring out his positioning. It sounded like the adjustments in between the corners really helped him. Landed a heavy punch, and now he is in top position once again.
Rolander here in half guard. Us wrestlers are generally comfortable there in half guard. Now, Zaimi has been so active off of his back, it's going to be a bit hard for Rolander to establish position and look to posture up to ground and pound. But that's what he needs to do.
Very active guard by Zaimi.
We've seen him control for the better half of this fight. Now, if he can keep that control and maybe look to land some damage on Zaimi, that'll be the difference maker here for his ground game.
Rolander, nickel and diming neck lock. That first round was actually a little difficult to judge.
Yes, because you generally would say Zaimi's on his back, he loses the round. However, he was very active, landed some strikes off of his back. Me, biased as a wrestler, I'm going to give it to the man on top that ends the round.
Sure. Zaimi almost trying to kill the movement of Rolander on top in order to get a referee stand-up. Not as active as he was in the first round.
Interesting lock there on the bottom from Zaimi, like you said, just to control that arm. I'm very curious what he plans to perhaps transition to off of that.
Rolator continuing his activity in top position.
Rolator comfortable just smothering Zaimi here.
The length of Zaimi is very difficult. Rolator just more concerned about positioning than he is mounting offense.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it doesn't seem like a lot is happening in this position, right? However, when you're in there and you're under that, that's definitely a lot to work with. Zaimi doing a decent job using his guard to protect himself. Rolator doing a great job just controlling position. Keeping his head over Zaimi's head so he's never off balance. Good hip pressure. And for that reason, Zaimi isn't able to sweep and knock him off his base.
Zaimi continuing to change his position, going for an armbar.
Zaimi does a great job switching his hips and attacking the armbar. Little under 10 seconds left. I don't know if he's going to be able to finish it.
Oh.
Looking like he was even planning on transitioning to the opposite side there with that armbar, which tells me he's been spending that time in the gym there. He earned that blue belt for sure. Here we have the replay. Rolander coming in, jab, big right hand right into his shots. We know that's what he wanted to get to this whole night. Beautiful right hand into the single leg, finishes, and gets to his position. Now, this has been the name of the first round and the second round. Rolander controlling position on top, not putting himself in danger, not exerting himself, but establishing dominance in that position.
Rolator's a little slow getting up at the end of that round. I don't know if it's frustration or if he's a little bit tired.
Well, you know, and we got to give credit to Zaimi there. He's been working off of his back. When you're controlling somebody that's constantly in motion and constantly moving, that takes a lot of energy, even though he's not necessarily exerting his energy punching.
Rolator, Zaimi, start of round 3. Rob Hines, third person in the cage.
So if you're Zaimi, you got to be thinking, I got to stop the takedown here.
There's going to be a little sense of urgency in the Zaimi corner, even though it looked like he's, you know, kind of neck and neck with Rolator.
Yeah, what he needs to do is take the takedown away from Rolator. So I would expect to see a lot more jabs, a lot more teeps, maybe using his legs to keep his opponent away.
Zaimi throwing more kicks while circling. Rolator walking forward, left, right, and a takedown attempt of his own by Zaimi.
Zaimi with the inside single there and getting the takedown on Rolator.
And reversed Rolator in top position.
Beautiful scramble there by Rolator, using that left side underhook and the opposite side to kick Zaimi over. Now he's in a better position than he would be if he got the regular takedown because he's past the guard of Zaimi there. Zaimi looking for maybe a buggy choke, it may look like. I mean, this guy's dangerous on bottom there, so Rolator definitely cannot rest here on top.
Back taking it back, and is Rolator almost in the north-south position right now. Ooh, spinning Zaimi.
And that's what Rolator needs to do to maybe prevent Zaimi from throwing up these awkward submissions. He needs to punch him a little bit. Put his hand in his face. Get him, discourage him from moving there on bottom.
Rolator continuing to nickel and dime that clock. We're down to a minute and a half left in the third round. Back into top position is Rolator.
Zaimi looking to go for a leg lock there, but Rolator stuffing it. Good hip position, cross face.
Looking for an arm triangle.
Looking for, is it a Darce perhaps?
Is it Darce? Yes.
By Rolator. Now all Rolator needs to do is maybe get his hips to the mat, square to the mat. Now he's leaning to his right to try to get the choke, but that's sometimes not the best way to do it. If he could just flatten out and get Zaimi to flatten out.
You see the arm, Zaimi is cuffing his own leg in the bottom position.
That's that 6'3" frame there, man, using every inch of that to maybe leverage himself away from the choke.
We've got 40 seconds left in this third round, and so far it's been all Rolator.
Very much Rolator just controlling position, hip pressure, head pressure. But Zaimi throwing a little bit of everything off of the bottom now. We got 30 seconds left here. If you're Rolator, you don't need to adjust. I'm in this position. I'm in a dominant position going towards the latter half of the fight.
Rolator squeezing, but I mean, early in a fight, I'd say you're risking the lactic acid buildup and burning your muscles out, but we're down to 10 seconds left in this third round.
10 seconds left. We hang out here, maybe possibly try to give everything we can to get that choke.
Well, Rolator took that. I'd say he got that positive position that was almost given to him by Zaimi, and he never let go of it.
No, I mean, I don't blame him. You got to think, man. I mean, the fight game is so unorthodox. You never know with everything that Zaimi was throwing at Rolator. Even almost secured a takedown here, but Rolator doing a great job using this funk and scrambling his way out into a good position in the side control there.
Rolator not very active in terms of offense, in terms of punching, but definitely in regards to positioning.
Very much so. Definitely kept his opponent busy off of his back, on the feet. I saw hints of great striking from him. We saw a long list of grappling sequences from Zaimi off his back.
Absolutely. Yeah, Zaimi, he's got a blue belt. He certainly had looks that most people would never get in a gym setting. It's just, this is just the stages of becoming a complete martial artist. And our ring announcer, Michael Hansen, is going to make this one official.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, we go to the scorecards for decision. And all 3 judges score this contest 29-28 for the winner by unanimous decision, Mikey Rolator.
So that first round went to Zaimi. Like we had said, it was kind of a coin toss, but you kind of leaned towards Rolator, but the judges saw it the other way.
You definitely got to give credit to the judges for that, because it's easy to say, hey, he's on his back, he lost that round. So here we go. We have him on our feet here. Zaimi jabbing, sticking and moving. And Rolator like, no, I want no parts of that. Gets to his double leg, gets to his wrestling game. Little bit of ground and pound. Zaimi throwing everything but the kitchen sink off of the bottom here. Rolator stayed consistent with his approach to this fight. Getting to the leg attacks, getting to those takedowns, and controlling position.
Our third fight ended with a unanimous decision with Michael Rolator over Sazan Zaimi. Michael Hansen is going to get the next fight started.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready for our next bout of the evening. And now please welcome, coming to the cage first, fighting out of Brickyard, Indiana, Tito Caballero.
Tito Caballero out of Go Fitness. You will see Emmanuel Pugh and Aaron Battle walking him out. When I asked him what his key to victory is, he's like, I gotta keep it dirty. I gotta keep it dirty, and I know my opponent likes to stand.
Caballero looking in great shape here, man. You definitely can tell he came here prepared for this fight.
When I talked to his coach, Emmanuel Pugh, what type of fighter he is, he gave me a dead stare and said, he is a street fighter for real.
So we can expect to see a banger here tonight. And, that fighting spirit, most fighters don't even have it.
No,
we come out and we approach it from a technical standpoint. But every once in a while, you get that guy like a Jorge Masvidal that I'm going to go out there, I'm going to fight tooth and nail no matter what.
And keep in mind, this comes from a guy that's got about 1 million views on Street Beefs in Emmanuel Pugh. So for sure, we expect fireworks out of him.
And now making his way to the APFC cage from Lisle, Illinois, Trevor, the Terror Peters.
Representing Prime Muay Thai, Trevor Peters said his key to victory is literally anything. I know nothing about my opponent. I just learned his name yesterday, and he's been training since 2010.
And that could be a benefit, not knowing much about his opponent. And, he can come into the fight, and he's not fighting the ghost that he's built up in his mind over the last 6 weeks.
I'm really glad you mentioned that. His last fight was 2017. This gentleman is a brown belt in judo, a blue belt in jiu-jitsu, and training Muay Thai for 6 years. In terms of tools to use, this gentleman has got plenty of them.
Yeah, this is going to be an exciting one. We got the street fighter. We got someone that is, I'm coming out here, I got nothing to lose. Man, this is fighting the night potential.
You got two guys willing to bang, both wanting to stand up. One with a judo background. Hopefully we get to see some throws tonight with a guy that's going to come at him awkward, wild, and probably a tornado type style.
And it's funny, you know, as this fight starts, you can almost feel the energy in the building change, and we're starting to get the hype of the night is starting to accumulate.
Yeah, we're starting to fill up here at the Gene Shepherd Community Center in Hammond, Indiana.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the APFC lightweight division, sponsored by 18th Street Brewery. And your referee in charge after the bell is Rob Hines. And now, introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black with white, he stands 5 feet 8 inches tall. Official weight, 156 pounds. He comes in tonight with a record 2 victories with 1 defeat, fighting out of Brickyard, Indiana. Tito Caballero. And across the cage, his opponent fighting out of the red corner, wearing black with red letters. He stands 5 feet 10 inches tall. Official weight, 153.8 pounds. He comes in tonight with 1 victory, no defeats, from Lisle, Illinois, Trevor, the Terror Peters.
Trevor Peters in the black trunks with red lettering. On the other side, we've got Tito Caballero with the white trim and black board shorts. Rob Hines is our 3rd person in the ring. Beginning of round 1. No touch of gloves.
4-inch reach advantage by Trevor. However, Caballero closing that distance quick.
Heavy punches and a knockout by Tito Caballero. It was that overhand right with that swarming style that was the deciding factor. And Trevor Peters is still trying to figure out where he's at.
Caballero made my job here easy tonight. How do you break that fight down? Get in the face, throw the right hand, and down he goes. Very Tyson-esque of Caballero.
Tito Caballero still, wow, we knew it was going to be swarming. When somebody says street fighter, that means heavy punches, awkward angles, fast start.
That's that street fighting spirit. Beautiful double leg takedown, too. It wasn't technically sound, but he got in there, grabbed a hold of his opponent, dumped him down, let him get to his feet, threw that right hand. I mean, there's not much to say about that performance, but wow.
Absolutely. Delivering the punches is Tito Caballero, and he certainly made a name for himself in his first MMA bout with just a few months of training.
Beautiful left hand there by Caballero to get his opponent to circle to that right hand too. So even though it was a bit of chaos, you can still see he was able to be methodical in the midst of the chaos. Yeah. Throw that left hand, get you to step this way, boom, right hand.
Your coach is on Street Beefs, and he said, we take this street fighting stuff pretty serious, and this guy is legit.
He might have 1 million more YouTube views after this.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're gonna make it official with our ring announcer, Michael Hansen.
Ladies and gentlemen, our referee, Rob Hines, called us out to the contest at 11 seconds of the very first round for your winner by knockout, Tito Caballero.
That might be the APFC's record for fastest knockout.
Man, it's a historical night. We got 2 of the inaugural titles here. Our fastest knockout potential, and I'm going to say it again. I said it in the opening. I leave APFC every time thinking it can't get much better than this. I don't think it can get much better than this, Mike, and I might be wrong next time.
Trevor Peters, to his credit, he's got Sonny Ross in his corner, somebody that's also very experienced. Sometimes these things happen. I'm sure we're going to see him back again. Tito Caballero just made a huge name for himself. I guarantee regionally, people know that gentleman's name. That concludes that fight. Tito Caballero with a first-round stoppage over Trevor Peters, and we are bringing our next fight to the ring.
We are ready for our next bout of the evening. Making his way to the cage first from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Jeremy Strobel Jr.
Representing Rufus Sport, Jerry Strobel is walking to the ring with Duke Rufus and Scott Cushman. When we asked, he said, the key to this fight is me finding my finish.
You know, and coming from that Rufus Sport camp with Chris Wright in his corner, he has Coach Cush in his corner, who's one of the best striking coaches I've personally ever worked with. Cushman's all about getting the finish. So I expect to see Jeremy go out there, take his time, find that opening, and look to put the lights out potentially.
With 7 years of wrestling and 6 years of training, Jerry Strobel is certainly to make a name for himself. And when you look at his record, he's got a very good win over Andre Sellers. Andre Sellers is from Minnesota and no stranger to the Midwest fight scene. I mean, the guy is literally at more events than we are. And to have a win over Andre Sellers is very telling of what type of fighter that Jeremy Strobel is.
I mean, in that camp with the likes of Sergio Pettis, Rafion Stotts used to be up there, Bellator champion. He's definitely been in deep waters.
His way to the APFC cage, fighting out of Hammond, Indiana, Alex Moore.
Alex Moore representing Team Cologne. You got Peyton Brzezinski and Steve Cologne walking him out. His key to victory is go with the flow. This gentleman is a purple belt and has been training with Steve Cologne since 2016. And he says his opponent has got very good stand-up, but I'm well prepared. Steve Cologne in his corner is a Midwest legend, somebody that's taken about a dozen fighters from their first fight all the way up to the UFC. Somewhat of a little bit of a travel gym right here in the Maryville, Indiana area.
Go with the flow. I like that approach there by Moore. That just tells you that he's prepared for anything and everything that comes at him.
Yeah, Alex Moore, doesn't have a lot of words, but he in our pre-fight interview, but it's a lot of confidence, and he's somebody that has been at the gym day in and day out over at Team Cologne. Is kind of like their mascot. Like everybody really likes Alex Moore.
Alex Moore, 38 years of age. He's a little older, but with that age comes experience. We got the 23-year-old Jeremy Strobel standing at 5'7". Their heights are pretty much equal here. This fight is going to be an exciting one to watch.
Jeremy Strobel and Alex Moore, and we are kicking off another bout.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the APFC Bantamweight Division, sponsored by Third Coast's T-shirt. And your referee in charge is Rob Hines. And now, introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. Wearing white trunks, he stands 5 feet 7 inches tall. Official weight, 136.3 pounds. Coming in tonight with a record, 2 victories with 2 defeats. Fighting out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Jeremy Strobel Jr. And across the cage, his opponent, fighting out of the red corner. Wearing navy trunks, he stands at 5 feet 8 inches tall. Official weight, 133.4 pounds. He comes tonight with a record, 3 victories with 1 defeat. Fighting out of Hammond, Indiana, Alex Moore.
We've got Jeremy Strobel in the white, kind of grayish trunks with black trim. Alex Moore in the camouflage. And the camouflage trunks with the black trim, the camouflage board shorts, I should say. Both fighters center, no touch of gloves. Start with the teep by Alex Moore.
Moore, being the hometown fighter, has a great support system here. All you hear is more coming from Moore's side of the arena here.
Strobel circling.
Strobel doing a good job throwing the feints here. Looks to maybe style and profile on his feet. However, Moore getting right to that takedown, wasting no time.
Strobel, very young, 23 years of age. It's something that you got to take advantage of if you're Alex Moore. Strobel, the takedown of his own. Alex Moore now on bottom.
Great job of Moore making the adjustment off of that body lock, using the outside leg to scoop his opponent down to the mat.
Moore, a purple belt. Ooh, in full mount. Strobel is in full mount, raining down punches on top of Moore. Strobel continuing to be active.
Strobel used that shoulder pressure that he had on his right side to establish position and then create a space to throw those punches. Really taking his time looking for the openings here, Strobel on top.
Moore continuing to maintain his position while trying to mount some offense, trapping the arm of Moore. And once again, Strobel is throwing punches against Alex Moore.
Great advance there by Strobel, using his the punches there to pepper and then advance here, possibly into a side guard. Maybe he's going to settle here in the half. Almost a gift wrap position.
Full mount. Oh, nope, not yet.
Strobel just taking his time. Every time he gets an opening, throwing a strike. Moving, strike, moving, strike. I like it.
Strobel maintaining his position on top, peppering down punches on Alex Moore. Got 1 minute left in this first round.
Moore doing a good job of not remaining flat. Even though he's on his back, he's getting to a side, getting to a hip, you know, tying up Strobel's arm when he can. He has a good foundation on his back here to protect himself.
Strobel continuing his activity, now in guard, raining down punches on top of Moore.
Strobel just getting vicious there, just framing on the face of Moore, looking for those strikes.
Hammer fist, heavy hammer fist by Strobel.
Picking his shots, and every shot he
Strobel
throws.
is landing heavy punches, and Moore is in trouble, covering up his
This
Moore.
might
Strobel is continuing
it.
to rain down punches.
False call on my behalf there, but he was maybe a punch or two away from this being over.
Strobel's going for the finish. He's looking for the finish, and we've got 10 seconds left in his first round. Heavy punches once again by Strobel.
Those punches weighing on Moore there. I'm excited to see, you know, going into the second round, how that affects him.
End of the first round, quick to his feet is Jeremy Strobel, not breathing hard whatsoever.
Strobel doing a good job here, attacking that hand so Moore can't defend his strikes. Using his left hand to block the hands, using his right hand to throw thunder. And when I say he's throwing thunder, that was heat coming from each and every shot there from Strobel.
We've got Strobel in the clinch. Once again, looking for that takedown with a trip of Alex Moore.
And once Strobel got Moore to the ground here, that was pretty much it as far as that first round is concerned. Landing the ground and pound, controlling them. Definitely one in the pocket.
You got Steve Cologne giving the last minute instructions to Alex Moore. Chris Wright on the other side with Jeremy Strobel, and we're going to start round number 2. Rob Hines is our third man in the ring. Rob Hines has got about almost 20 years of referee experience. I'd say probably more than that, actually. Both fighters, center ring. Moore, ooh, heavy punch by Moore.
Coming right into getting that takedown and taking Strobel's back. We almost saw a bit of this in the first round, though Strobel was able to recover as he is here. Lands on the top position.
Moore almost going for broke, trying to get that back position, and just a little, Strobel was a little too slippery for Moore to hang on to.
Now we saw last time Strobel did a good job of getting hand control here on top and landing strikes.
Strobel once again on top within earshot of his own corner.
Good job by Strobel framing on the shoulders of Moore, which allowed him to posture up. I think Strobel knows what's been working, and he wants to get back to that. Building his posture, landing those strikes. Building the posture, landing those strikes.
Ooh, heavy right hand punch by Strobel. Connects under the face of Moore. He's got a lot of success with his offensive arsenal, Jeremy Strobel.
And that's the thing here with Strobel being on top. You know, he's not just on top throwing punches. He's being very precise on how he builds his frame to get in the position to punch. And that's why his punches are so effective on top.
Strobel, once again, top position. Close guard.
Framing off of the face here.
By Alex Moore.
And just peppering on top. Moore not very active on the bottom here. You know, just kind of.
He's got close guard. We're coming about a minute 20 left in his second round. Covering the mouth heavy, left-right punch by Strobel.
I was just going to say that you can tell Strobel's been spending some time in the gym with Duke Rufus, man. The old school techniques, framing off of the shoulder, covering the mouth, man.
Heavy left punch.
Beautiful
Again,
left punch,
finds its mark.
Very fundamental in his approach towards his ground and pound with Strobel here.
Strobel, once again, top position covering the mouth of Alex Moore. We're coming up to about 40 seconds left in his second round.
Moore throwing a few punches off of his back. However, I think he should focus more on just getting out of that bottom position there. If I'm not mistaken, Moore seemed to have been talking to Strobel for a second there off of his back, perhaps maybe trying to throw him off of his game.
Moore surviving. We're not seeing much offense from the bottom. It seems he's waning a little bit, and Strobel he's not bending.
Yeah, he took a lot of damage towards the end of that first round, and I was curious to see how it's going to carry over. It seems like Moore is just in this fight to be in this fight at the point.
At times, like you can see somebody with a high output, they'll bend a little bit once they hit, a certain amount of cardio, expenditure. Strobel doesn't seem to be that person. In fact, his corner's not even bringing the stool in between rounds.
Well, that's a testament to his technique and how precise he is with his striking. Here we see a lot of him framing off of his opponent before he throws strike, not just taking the time and wailing and throwing shots, covering the mouth, pushing off. Like, it's very effective, and those things are the key to him on his top game.
Like you said, more surviving. Strobel just doesn't seem to be slowing down. It's kind of like a train going down a hill. He's comfortable with his pace, and it's something that he's, obviously very, very prepared for.
Very much so, man. I'm impressed by Strobel. Like I said,
Strobel's got to find a finish, though. Like at this level, with this type of difference between skill at this moment in the fight, Strobel's got to find a finish.
Very much so, and I mean, we saw glimpses of it in the first round, so if he can maybe get back to where he was there, I don't see why not in this third round.
In Moore being a purple belt, it's not going to be something easy to do on the ground.
Very much so. Moore has been doing a great job of
defending,
protecting himself in the guard.
Touch of gloves. Both fighters, center cage, kick, and right into a clinch is Alex Moore, and a trip and takedown by Jeremy Strobel.
Now here we go, Strobel back here in the guard, half guard position, using that shoulder there to control and pinch and pin Moore to the mat.
Strobel once again on top, peppering down peppering punches to Alex Moore, looking at his corner for direction.
Now we saw Strobel, he spent most of this fight on top, and as you were just saying, he should get a finish here. Let's look for the finish. Maybe advancing out of half guard could be better for him. Maybe he'd have a higher percentage chance of finishing in a mount position.
Continuing to work, here's Jeremy Strobel. Jeremy does a really good job of freeing up his arms, and he's not getting real heavy punches, but he's getting a lot of volume.
Very much so, man. And very technical in his approach towards his ground and pound.
Another left-right punch by Strobel from the top position. And Jeremy Strobel's in the mount right now.
Now we're here in this mount position. Now this is where we look to conclude here. Strobel knows he has the back, staying behind the arms, correcting his position. Maybe look to flatten Moore out here.
Moore is trying everything he can to find a different position, and Strobel is always just seems to have the answer for whatever it is that's being thrown his way.
Back here in the back position, we have Strobel.
Jeremy Strobel on top with Alex Moore. Strobel once again finding his way on top.
Here in half guard, we got Strobel just peppering with that left hand. At this juncture of the fight, I mean, Moore seems to be defeated. He has to pull something big out of his pocket here.
Strobel is showing a lot of activity, and he's very young in his career. But it's instances like this where I'm not saying take a risk, but he's got to find a finish. Like, if you want to get to the big show, you've got to find a finish.
You know, this is fighting. This is mixed martial arts, but it's also show business
100%.
too. You know, you're on a stage like APFC, UFC Fight Pass. What better stage to get a big, exciting finish?
And it's a flawless performance.
Very much so. That's not a testament to his technique and his approach at all.
It's absolutely flawless. Like, he has been absolutely perfect. Heavy
There
barrage
we
of
go.
punches by Strobel. I mean, he's been absolutely flawless every step of the way. He's been just one ahead of Alex Moore. And Alex Moore, to his credit, he survived, man. He's 38 years old, a purple belt, and he showed exactly why that is.
Hey, more power to him, but Strobel just came in with the intention to dominate tonight, and that's exactly what he did. We have here in the replay, Strobel Jr. just framing off of his opponent, looking for those punches and strikes. As his opponent Moore tried to tie him up, we saw this twice in the fight here. Strobel looking to pinch and just drag his opponent down to the mat.
Yeah, you know, Alex Moore, he didn't mount a lot of offense, but he showed a lot of heart. You know, he shot a lot, he survived.
Very much so, man. Just I love the heart from Moore. I love the technical approach from Strobel. I loved everything about this fight.
You got Steve Colon congratulating the corner of Jeremy Strobel. Absolute class act, that man right there, Steve Colon. He probably has saved more people from prison than anybody else in all of Northwest Indiana.
Wow.
He's a guy that continues to give back to the community. And we're going to send to a ring announcer to make this fight official.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for decision. The judges scored the contest 30-27, 30-27, and 30-26. All for your winner by unanimous decision, Jeremy Strobel Jr.
Jeremy Strobel, dominant performance. Moves his record up to 3-2 unanimous decision over Alex Moore, and he's not even breathing heavy.
No, I mean, he was very, very precise in his technical approach to this fight, and it allowed for him to just longevity, you know, framing, covering the mouth, like everything he did, like at 23 years old, he fought like a true veteran.
And that concludes our fight against Jeremy Strobel with a unanimous decision over Alex Moore.
For our next bout of the evening. And now, making his way to the cage first, fighting out of Aurora, Illinois, Alfredo Sanchez.
We got Alfredo Sanchez out of Pica-Pow Jiu-Jitsu. When we asked about his key to victory, he says it was to have fun and stay loose.
You know, having fun is hard to do. You're walking into a cage, you're going to fight somebody, but I love that mindset. You know, not necessarily just being in control of the result and the outcome. Go out there, have some fun, do what you do. That's a great mindset to walk into the cage.
He's a blue belt under Jiu-Jitsu, but he's been training MMA for 1 year, and he's got 6 Muay Thai fights.
So we can expect to see, you know, him maybe, hey, I'm comfortable on my feet. Hey, I'm comfortable on the ground. You know, this is mixed martial arts. You got to have a little bit of everything.
He's out of Pica-Pow Jiu-Jitsu. You got Aaron Brooks as head coach. Tyler Scott, who's with Dominion MMA. He goes there to spar. And John Sanchez, who is his boxing coach. He's got a lot of tools in his corner, that's for sure.
And now making his way to the APFC cage, fighting out of Chicago, Illinois, Tom, the Status Quo.
Thomas Quo out of 3D Martial Arts.
I don't think you could have a cooler name than the Tom
Status-
Quo, status quo. I mean, that's a given.
At the age of 16, he moved to Taiwan because he said he always got in fights there and he wanted to be a professional fighter. He did not speak the language of English and has really progressed. His key to victory is to stay calm and set up head kicks. He said, I knock people out when I land that head kick. I just can't force it.
Hey, let's see if he can beat the new established knockout record by, you know, for APFC. I mean, this is a historical night. Let's keep adding to it.
So he's got 6 years of training. In his corner, you got Javi Palomino, of course, Dennis Dombrow, who's been around forever in the Midwest scene, and Andrew Ho. Yeah, Thomas Quo. I mean, it's a cool story. Now, I moved here without speaking the language because I needed to fight. I want to turn professional. I want to be in the UFC. And what better place to start your career rather than here at APFC?
I mean, APFC has always, you know, since its inception, provided one of the better platforms for up-and-coming fighters, man. And tonight's event is just a testament to that.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the APFC lightweight division. And your referee in charge after the bell is Rob Hines. And now, introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black and red, he stands 5 feet 10 inches tall. Official weight, 156.8 pounds. Coming in tonight, making his debut, and fighting out of Aurora, Illinois, Alfredo Sanchez. And across the ring, his opponent fighting out of the red corner, wearing black trunks. He stands 5 feet 9 inches tall. Official weight, 155.5 pounds. Coming tonight, making his debut. Originally from Taipei, Taiwan. Now he lives and fights out of Chicago, Illinois. Tom, the status quo.
Killing it.
Man,
We got Thomas Quo in the black and red tights, and then we've got Alfredo Sanchez in the black trunks with the red cloud. Our third man in the ring is Rob Hines, and we are off to a fast start. Left, right punch by Sanchez, teep by Quo.
Quo coming in with all the energy, taking the center right away, throwing those crisp strikes, punches, kicks. We're seeing a little bit of everything from him.
Exchange of kicks by both fighters. Quo once again marching down Sanchez.
Alfredo saying, hey, I can throw some kicks too. Throwing the leg kick, throwing the body kick.
Alfredo Sanchez circling. Both these fighters, they don't seem to be giving an inch right now. Another kick by Quo. Left, right punch. Sanchez is concentrating on the legs, it seems.
Sanchez more direct in his attacks, and I love the way that Quo's feinting with his hands and his feet.
Body kick by Quo, counter check left hook by Sanchez. Left hook of his own by Quo, exchange of kicks. Both these fighters going for broke. Another leg kick by Quo, another calf kick by Quo.
Quo came into this fight saying, hey, I need to get that knockout, and I'm going to get to it by using my kicks.
Check right hook and a kick by Quo lands again. Alfredo circling, kick to the head by Sanchez.
Sanchez, perhaps.
Followed by a kick to the body by Quo. Left, right punch by Quo, and Sanchez is now circling.
With Sanchez being a southpaw, that right kick is going to be there for Quo. And vice versa for Sanchez, the left kick for Quo.
Quo keeps leading with a left hook, left, right punch by Sanchez. Back and forth this fight, teep by Quo. Sanchez moving backward, looking at angles, left, right punch by Quo, backing Sanchez. Sanchez once again.
Quo has a good rhythm on his feet. I like how he's
heavy kick to the body by Thomas Quo.
Feinting with the hands, throwing the
kick
kicks
to the head by
Quo. Wow.
Quo left, right punch.
Pressuring forward, throwing
left,
the
right
punches.
punch. Both fighters throwing. Quo once again, exchange of kicks by both fighters. Sanchez kick to the body, followed by a leg kick by Quo. Heavy overhand right by Quo, marching down Sanchez. Left, right punch stuns Quo.
Quo going to the body, then going to the head with the kick. I like that, mixing it up, getting Sanchez to lower his hands.
Quo circling, finding fantastic angles with his punches. Sanchez marching forward, kick to the head misses by Sanchez. Quo center stage. Left-right punch, again, a kick to the head, fine, barely misses its mark by Sanchez.
Frenetic pace to this fight so far, man. We're seeing a little bit of everything, man. Two talented fighters.
Balls of his feet is Quo, little flat-footed as Sanchez, finding his mark again as Quo marching forward, finding the chin. Counter punch by Quo. These two are in a phone booth. Left-right punch by both fighters, body kicks and punches. Quo, a kick to the head.
That left hook is pretty much opened the window for Quo. He's throwing everything off that left hook. Left hook to the kick to the body. Left hook kick to the head.
That fight was that round was as close as it can get. Neither fighter giving an inch, with Quo finding his mark several times with the heavier punches, but the volume goes to Sanchez.
Here we go with Quo, man, coming in behind the lead right hand, getting to that head kick. I think that was the exclamation point of that round, man. The left hook to the kick, left hook body kick, left hook leg kick.
Quo continue to find his mark, and the southpaw stance is just making him aggressive, going with the head kicks as well as the lead left hooks. You have got Tyler Scott giving instructions to Alfredo Sanchez. Dennis Dombrow toweling off his fighter, Thomas Quo. Thomas Quo is incredibly aggressive. He's got really good breathing control as well. And his angles, I mean, he's not afraid to just take risks on his angles.
No, a lot of action by both fighters in that fight. You know, I think this is going to be a conditioning battle here as well, too.
Round two is started. We got Rob Hines, both fighters, center. No touch of gloves. Quo bouncing back and forth. Heavy jab. By
Sanchez looking to come in behind that jab, mixing it up.
Body
jab,
kick.
jab, right hand.
Sanchez, once again, taking the center. Quo going after the legs.
Now we see that a lot with the orthodox and the southpaw. A lot of hand fighting before they're striking, trying to gauge and test the distance there. Quo coming in with that teep to the body, which is going to do some damage to the gas tank of Sanchez.
Teep to the body, both of these fighters centering. Almost a Superman punch followed by a kick is Sanchez. Left-right punch by Quo. These guys have not stopped since this fight started.
No, man. Every second of this fight has been filled with some type of action here.
Oh, and you know what? There was a right hook that landed on Quo that stunned him momentarily. Quo responds by moving forward. Left-right punch. Overhand right connects by Quo. Marching forward again is Quo to the body. Sanchez continues to fire back.
Back into the phone booth, we went there for a second, man. Quo throwing kicks from a punching range and landing to the body, landing to the head, man. Just almost with reckless abandonment, but it's working for him.
Stiff jab by Sanchez finds its mark with Quo. Quo continuing to bounce and move forward.
I almost feel like these guys made an agreement before this fight. We're going to see who can outkick who tonight.
Quo once again circling. Sanchez moving forward. Sanchez, misses with the teep to the body. Sanchez capitalizes with a straight right.
You know, and that's the danger of throwing a kick naked. You know, Quo, he's been landing. He's had great success with those kicks, but he'd almost do better to mix it up, throw some hand strikes first to set up the kicks.
Overhand right just misses by Quo. Oh, a right hook, or left hook.
Sanchez
by Quo.
wobbled a little
Sanchez
bit.
Wobbled. Sanchez against the back. Quo going for the kill. Left right punch, and Sanchez is wobbly legs right now. Quo is marching him down. Another kick to the head. Sanchez against the fence. Left right punch. Sanchez continues to fire back, and Quo is reset.
Sanchez definitely rocked there by that straight right hand there, man. That was
a kick by Sanchez. Once again finds its mark. Quo is going in and out, finding his rhythm, waiting to land another punch. Sanchez has got the heart of a typical Mexican fighter, willing to die in there and throws when he's in trouble. You can get in a deep waters going in recklessly when you think Sanchez is hurt.
And for a second there, he was wobble, but he just keeps marching forward, you know, not breaking his stance, not breaking the technique, coming in behind the right hand, throwing that jab when he sees it.
Heavy breathing by Sanchez, gets caught again by another left hook by Quo, a kick to the head. Quo is really pouring on the power. Sanchez almost toying with his mouthpiece, trying to get air into his body right now. The heart of Sanchez is something that should never, ever be doubted.
No, never. I mean, he took some shots there. Almost looked like he went down for a second, but, you know, was able to weather the storm. Beautiful right hand there by Quo, which rocked Sanchez initially.
I'm going to tell you, Sanchez, they're refusing the stool, trying to get maybe some energy back into his legs.
Here we go here. Just Quo, like I was saying, throwing the punches and kicks from everywhere. We're in punching range, and he finds a way to set up that beautiful right head kick.
If you're Sanchez's corner, David Evans, what instruction are you giving him?
We got to look out for those kicks. I mean, it's not that he's doing anything wrong. I would say jab a little bit more to kind of throw off the rhythm of Quo.
Maybe counter as well. I wouldn't lead punch against Quo.
No, not for sure. He's definitely had a lot of success moving and then throwing the kicks, moving and then throwing the punches. But, you know, maybe even grip him up a little bit more, hand fight a little bit more, make it a little uglier.
Alfredo Sanchez. Got a little urgency in this round. We got both fighters starting round 3. Center cage is Quo, circling once again, finding his rhythm. Oh, Quo looked like he was going to throw a kick and abandoned the effort.
Sanchez, nice left body kick. I mean, he's doing a good job pumping that jab out there. And what that's going to do, if anything, is just freeze his opponent.
Sanchez, or Quo once again, finds a nice right hook, kick to the body by Quo. You look at Sanchez, his mouthpiece is a little loose in his mouth, which is probably making Quo go to his body.
You know, he's taking a lot of damage to the body with those body kicks. The right hand straight to the body by Quo has been having success all night as well, too.
Straight left lands by Sanchez, backing up Quo. Kick by Sanchez. Quo, once again, finding his little rhythm. There's a little bit of a bounce that Quo gets, and that's him finding his rhythm.
For sure, and Sanchez has to break that up, you know, and we mentioned earlier throwing the jab. A little more feinting as well by Sanchez will probably help. He's so direct in his approach, it's almost, you know, that Quo can see it coming.
Kick to the body, a kick to the legs is Quo. Exchange of kicks to the legs. Sanchez getting a little bit more confident this round. Sanchez moving forward, looking for an overhand left, his power punch. Quo doing a really good job circling away from it.
Quo comfortable staying on the outside and just picking Sanchez apart right now.
There's a lot of discipline on Quo's end, circling away from that left-hand power because it goes against like what you've been taught in the gym. Exchange of kicks by both fighters. Grimacing look by Sanchez.
Fighters going shin to shin right there, man. You heard that, just sounded like two baseball bats hitting each other.
Yeah, that's how legs break. Left-right punch by Quo. Quo is not finding his mark this round as he did in the last round, but the pressure of Quo is incredibly impressive. Overhand right just lands, as I said that, by Quo.
Sanchez loses his mouthpiece there for a second.
Superman
punch coming in.
Lands by Sanchez. Sanchez once again marking down Quo. I don't know if Quo maybe hit a marker in his cardio, but he's not as active as he was the last round. Oh, check right hook lands by Sanchez. Sanchez inviting more.
You know, Quo had a lot of output, you know, the last 2 rounds, and we're kind of seeing him taper off a little bit. He had success when he was active. Now we're seeing Sanchez kind of pull himself back into this fight.
Sanchez seems to be conserving his energy over to land that overhand left, which he landed twice right there. Whenever Quo walks the wrong way, he lands it, and Quo lands a big takedown in the final 10 seconds of this 3rd round. I am shocked that we're going to see a final bell in this fight with the power punches that have been thrown.
Very much so, but you know, Quo, hey, changing it up a little bit, going to the takedown to maybe solidify that round.
And what a fantastic performance by both fighters. Quo's output, it's got to be a little unnerving when you've hit somebody so many times with hard shots and they're continuing to move forward.
Very much so. I mean, that's kind of been the name of this fight on both sides. Neither fighter really taking a step back. Here you have Sanchez coming in behind the jab, throwing that left hand, throwing the left kicks. Beautiful takedown there by Quo.
Sanchez is the heart of a Mexican fighter out of Tito, Mexico, which is where all of the famed Latin athletes come from that country.
Very much a great representation of that by
100%,
Sanchez.
100%, man. Fantastic showing by Sanchez and Quo. I mean, he showed that He's got a lot of tools in his arsenal. Yeah, very good showing. Yeah, Sanchez is no punk. That guy, that's a tough kid, man.
You know, I definitely, this would be a hard one to judge. I wouldn't want to be a judge for this fight. We saw some good things from both fighters.
All right, we're going to send it away to our ring announcer, Michael Sanchez, and make this official.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of action, we go to the scorecards for decision. And all 3 judges scored this contest 30-27 for your winner by unanimous decision, Tom the Status Quo.
Here we have it here, a replay. Status Quo, I love that name. Throwing the kicks, throwing low, throwing high. We saw a little mixture of everything from both fighters, and I love that. Quo came in high input right away, had great success landing his kicks. However, Sanchez had an answer for everything.
Fantastic fight, David Evans. And that concludes our bout with Thomas Quo winning a decision over Alfredo Sanchez. We're going to send it away to our ring announcer to bring in the next fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready for our next bout of the evening. And now, making his way to the APFC cage, fighting out of Glenwood, Illinois, Louise Jericho Unswelta.
Louise Unswelta out of Gilbert Grappling. He's 6'1", championship height for the 155-pound division. His key to victory, he believes, is keeping my length, maintaining the pace, and keep the fight standing.
Speaking of pace, man, we left off with a great pace of that last fight, man. I'm excited to see Unswelta. I've heard great things about him, and I think he's going to take it to another level.
He's cornered by Jose Perez and Dan Benoit. Dan Benoit, a WEC veteran. Jose Perez is currently the CFFC champion. Bo Samaniego is there as well. He's got 7 years training MMA. He's 5-1 in jiu-jitsu. Louise Unswelta keeps a high pace and keeps everybody at the end of his punches. He uses his length like many veterans do, but he's doing it at such an early level in his career.
You know, and that just speaks to his training camp and where he comes from. You know, the caliber of people that he trained with. You know, Gilbert just, you know, teaching him, hey, we're not going to go out there and just fight. We're going to use your tools and your strengths to the best of your ability.
Danny Gilbert has fought all over the world, including Japan. His coach, Louise Unswelta, getting his final instructions from Rob Hines before he enters the ring. Unswelta's like one of those prospects. Like he's one of these guys that he's not going away, and he's got a lot of potential.
Making his way to the APFC cage, fighting out of Des Moines, Iowa, Omar Flores.
Speaking of potential, elite edges, Omar Flores is being cornered by Humberto Flores as well as Josh Neer. He believes his key to victory is his cardio and striking.
Great caliber of a camp coming out of Elite Edge with Josh Neer. I mean, he's the consummate professional. You think MMA, you can't think Josh Neer. And he's been producing great talent. And we saw a few of his guys here at APFC.
His father's a pro boxer, Raul Flores. So you got two people wanting to stand and trade from two gyms that have made quite a name for themselves here in the Midwest.
Man, I mean, it's almost like that's been the call and the theme of the night, man. People just wanting to go out there and just lay it all on the line. And that's what I love about APFC, man. We find these young, hungry guys to get in there. And they're not just young, they're not just hungry. They're super talented and have a ton of experience.
Omar Flores, 18 years of soccer experience, which means his cardio is probably pretty good.
Which means they may give the last one a run for the money, man. I'm excited about this one.
Yeah, this is, when we were talking earlier, we had said this has got potential fight of the night written on it as well. There's a few fights that really stand out on this card, and this obviously being one of them. Josh Neer taking his time, applying the grease on Louise Unswelta. He's kind of the honorary Diaz brother in MMA circles.
Is that right?
Oh, Josh Neer, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that comes from the Diaz brothers themselves.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Rob Hines making his final checks. And Omar Flores is about to enter the cage.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the APFC lightweight division, sponsored by Indiana Marines. And your referee in charge after the bell is Rob Madrigal. And now, introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black trunks, he stands 6 feet 1 inch tall, official weight 155.4 pounds. Coming in tonight with a record 2 victories with 1 defeat, fighting out of Glenwood, Illinois, Louise Jericho Unswelta. And across the cage, his opponent fighting out of the red corner, wearing black and gray. He stands 5 feet 10 inches tall, official weight 155.2 pounds. Coming tonight with a record 1 victory with no defeats, fighting out of Des Moines, Iowa, Omar Flores.
Omar Flores in the black and gray trunks, where Louise Unswelta in the blue corner in the black spandex. Ooh, both fighters no touch of gloves. Unswelta taking center of the cage. Jab by Unswelta, followed by a teep. Leg kick of his own is Omar Flores.
Unswelta looking to definitely keep his distance here, throwing the teeps, throwing the kicks, throwing the jab, not over-committing on any of his strikes.
Nice little teep again, but the face barely misses Omar Flores' face. Ooh. It's almost like a Dominic Cruz style of striking out of Unswelta.
Yeah, I love that, switching the angles after each strike, not staying in the same spot. He's going to be very hard to hit.
Another teep by Unswelta, followed by a leg kick. I think that's the way Omar's going to slow him down. Start with those leg kicks.
Flores doing a good job of just kind of bouncing in and out, and when he's inside throwing, just keep him busy on the inside, but not staying there too long.
Unswelta, overhand right, followed by a couple kicks, switching his lead foot. Flores seems to be countered right now. Unswelta marching forward. Very aggressive is Unswelta.
Aggressive, but he's very clean, and I like that. Throwing, moving, throwing, moving.
Unswelta, or Flores moving forward right now. Degree of success in that last exchange. Unswelta follows up with a left-right punch and a teep. Kick to the head.
Unswelta just mixing it up here, throwing a little bit of everything.
Flores is counter-punching Unswelta. Louise almost lands that right-hand punch. Just kind of graced Flores. Heavy
Huge
overhand right.
Huge right hand by Flores. You know, outside of that right hand by Flores, you know, both fighters still kind of finding their groove here in this fight. High level striking, though, you can tell already.
Unswelta cutting the cage off, keeping Unswelta against the cage. Unswelta goes for a double leg takedown into a guillotine.
Unswelta has Flores here against the cage. Now, Flores being the shorter fighter, I don't know if it's a good job or a good idea to go over the top looking for the guillotine. Maybe do better just trying to establish the clinch position and work his way out. But Unswelta just leaning all of that 6-foot frame on Flores right now.
Takedown by Unswelta.
Unswelta get into the side control here. Let's see if he plans to advance, go knee on belly perhaps. Into the half guard.
Short left hand, lands by Unswelta, taking his time. Less than 30 seconds left in this first round.
Unswelta just holding position here. Good head control against the cage.
Taking his time. Unswelta catching his breaths. Standing up in a push-off. Ooh, by Flores with the last-second kick by Unswelta. How do you see that round being judged, David Evans?
Man, it was a close when it comes to the striking. As a wrestler, I'm always biased. You got to give it to Unswelta by getting that takedown. I mean, that kind of solidified it for him. Here we saw that right hand by Flores, which was probably the most significant strike thrown. You know, Flores came with his own takedown attempt. However, nothing really came for it. Unswelta was able to adjust, adapt, get his opponent against the cage and secure the takedown. I think that's going to give him the round.
Unswelta comes from a wrestling gym. Danny Gilbert, Joey Gilbert, the coaches over there. Joey Gilbert, the first 4-time state champion in the state of Illinois. Josh Neer giving instructions to Omar Flores. That's Jose Perez. He is the current CFFC 145-pound champion, also on Fight Pass. Talking to Louise Unswelta, and we're going to start round 2. The feeling out process, I think, might be over.
Though it was a filling out process, you can tell these are 2 high-level fighters. I mean, all the techniques you saw thrown, the pace of the fight, everything was just high level. And I think it's just going to be more to come.
Overhand right with the teep by Unswelta. Left-right punch by Unswelta, finds its mark. Straight right hand, followed by another teep by Unswelta. Left-right punch and clinch by Omar.
Flores doing a good job on punching on the exit there in the clinch.
Left-right punch again connects by Unswelta. Another solid jab by Unswelta. Flores is doing a pretty good job counter-punching. I think he needs just to commit just a little bit more if he wants him to land.
Yeah, and I just think it's hard with the distance that maybe Unswelta has, and he's doing a great job of keeping him on the outside of his punches, as we knew he would do coming into the fight.
Flores. Oh, left-right punch again by Unswelta. Backs up Flores. Overhand right, followed by a teep. Unswelta's kind of finding his mark right now.
Yeah, Flores, I think, should maybe think about adding some takedown attempts in there just to kind of mix it up and just kind of throw Unswelta off a little bit because he's finding his rhythm very well.
Flores got the right leg of Unswelta, going for a takedown. Lands it. Flores on top against the cage. Into full mount is Omar Flores. Unswelta scrambling to get to half guard.
Flores solidified the half guard. Perhaps it looks like, no, he's going to go right into the full guard as Unswelta does a good job getting him there, but lands some powerful right hands.
Oh my gosh, overhand right. Finds its mark at Unswelta. Wow. Wow, I did not see that coming. That was very surprising.
I don't think anyone did. I mean, it was so slick the way he threw the hand. He didn't over-exaggerate his movement, his motion, or anything. It was just right there on the button.
Man, Louise Unswelta seemed to be pulling away at this point, and Omar Flores, he never counted himself out.
No, stay composed, man, and stuck to his game plan. And that's the hallmark of a high-level fighter there.
The overhand right hands. Wow. Fantastic job by Omar Flores.
You know, you love to see it, but you hate to see it because that was such a highly contested fight. You know, high-level competition on both sides. You know, it's exciting to get the knockout, but I could have watched that fight go for 5 rounds.
Yeah, absolutely. Unswelta's still, you know, kind of coming through. He's going to be fine. Got the doctor in the ring right now, looking at Louise Unswelta. It just caught him right on the jaw. It looked like the punches just landed flush on the jaw of Louise Unswelta.
It was definitely right on the button, as you say, as Mike. And, you know, unfortunately, it looks like we're going to have to get the stretcher in here to get his opponent out.
Yeah, it was just, you know, a couple solid punches. It wasn't anything like exaggerated or something beyond like what should have taken place. It's just a part of the fight game. Unswelta's awake and talking right now. I think that they're just in there for precautionary purposes.
Yeah, we've definitely seen more devastating punches, so to say, you know, in other fights. Like, as you said earlier, Mike, it's just right on the button, man. And
it happens.
It happens. There's nothing you can do about it. That's the name of the game, unfortunately.
I'm going to tell you this right now. Louise Unswelta, I mean, if you look at his movement, like, he's a very, very talented guy. And for Omar Flores not to get frustrated, push through, and find the mark at the end, it's just, you got 2 elite camps. Josh Neer, Danny Gilbert. That's what you get.
You definitely leave this fight knowing for both of these guys, the winner and the loser, that they both have promising futures.
You got Omar Flores. That's we're waiting to kind of make this one official. Yeah, you can see Louise Unswelta. He just got touched. He got touched on the butt. Relax just a little bit. Oof. Heavy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 punches. Mouthpiece comes out.
You know, and what I saw in that finish there for Flores, he has great vision. He was in that moment, in the guard here. His eyes were open, and he was always looking at where to go next.
He wanted top position as well. You saw at the end of the first round that Unswelta was on top and kind of maintained his position. Flores found a way to be on top and implemented his game plan. I mean, which is not an easy thing to do. So Unswelta's cognizant, just waiting for him to come through. Let's talk about the main event.
Let's talk about it, man. Johnny Showstopper Hopper, as he reminded me yesterday, the name change.
The name changed.
No longer Big Papa, he's Showstopper. And
huge news for us.
If you ask, it is, but it isn't, because he always stops the show. Every APFC we see him fight in.
Yeah, and then on the opposite side,
Roller.
Yeah, we've got Roller. We got a little bit of movement on Louise Unswelta's. Head's moving, hands. He's good. He's going to be okay. Then bringing him back up. Like I said, the EMTs were just in there for precautionary purposes. Louise Unswelta just got touched. Right now, he's being told what just took place. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a level of disappointment with him, but absolute tough fighter in Louise Unswelta.
You know, despite the finish, he definitely has nothing to be ashamed about. I mean, that was a very high-level performance, and I think there are a lot of takeaways for him from this fight.
Yeah, Danny Gilbert, Jose Perez, the corners of Louise Unswelta going over to make sure everything is okay with their fighter. Louise just got touched. Something like this, you need a few months off, including cardio. You gotta let, like the bouncing, you gotta let your brain heal. It's like a broken bone. You gotta let it heal.
Yes, it's definitely a process, and man, I hope he's smart about it, and I'm excited to see, when he does come back, after an adequate amount of time of recovery, of course. But I'm excited to see, what's next for both of these guys.
Nothing to be ashamed of if you're Louise Unswelta. And also, on the other side, you got Josh Neer, Omar Flores. They've been classy this entire time. There's no jumping off the cage or, doing any post-fight signs. But hey, let's bring it to our announcer and get it going.
Ladies and gentlemen, our referee Rob Madrigal called a stop to the contest at 1 minute 33 seconds of round number 2 for the winner by knockout, Omar Flores.
Good stoppage by referee Rob Madrigal as well. There was nothing bad in that instance. It's just this is the sport of mixed martial arts.
No, it's like I said earlier, it's the name of the game, and it happens.
So Omar Flores by second round knockout over Louise Unswelta. Unswelta back to his feet. He's kind of still coming to right now. They're going to have a little precautionary time in order to make sure that he is situated properly. That was shocking. We didn't really see that coming until it happened.
It was definitely almost like a phantom punch, if you will, man. But Flores did a great job of capitalizing on that split second that he needed to get the finish.
And Flores not showboating tells you exactly what type of person and camp he comes from.
I agree.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready for our next bout of the evening. Making his way first to the APFC cage from Monroeville, Indiana, Dustin McClure.
Dustin McClure out of Team SWAT out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. His key to success, he believes, is his pressure. He knows his opponent is a good wrestler, but he's got 5 years of jiu-jitsu experience, and his child will be born in 3 days.
You want to talk about motivation right there? He's fighting for a little bit more than a victory here tonight. And man, we never really talk about the intangibles outside of the cage that helps motivate these fighters and get them to perform the way they do.
He's 1-0, but it's deceiving because the person he beat was Austin Martinez, who was 3-1, and he won by way of armbar. So his first fight had a lot of experience on the other side of the cage, and then, like I said, he pulled it off with the finish. So pretty impressive.
To the APFC cage, fighting out of Montgomery, Illinois, Victor, the Constrictor Aguirre.
Victor Aguirre by way of Valley Flow. If you look at this kid's age, that is the exact amount of time he's been around the sport of mixed martial arts. I remember him as a child being cage side with his father. You can see in his corner, Nick and Dan Aguirre, his brothers, and Aaron Brooks. He believes his key to victory is submission, and he knows that his opponent is a wrestler.
We've seen him in the APFC cage before. Man, this guy always has stellar performances.
Originally starting out of Team No Ego, which is a way throwback gym. He's got 10 years of wrestling, and he's a blue belt in jiu-jitsu. He claims 15 years of training. I don't believe that. I think it's
you do the math.
No.
15.
I've got pictures of him cage side from about 20 years ago, so he does not have 15 years of training. Yeah, which is a testament.
15 years of conscious training.
Absolutely.
Conscious training.
Absolutely, and it's a testament to his family. You got to give your kids tools to defend themselves, and what better way than to bring them around to combat sports at a very young age. Rob Hines making the final checks. Victor Aguirre is entering the cage to start our next bout.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the APFC featherweight division, sponsored by the Indiana Marines. And your referee in charge after the bell is Rob Madrigal. And now, introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing pink and brown, he stands 5 feet 11 inches tall. Official weight, 146.8 pounds. Coming in tonight with the record, 1 victory and no defeats, from Monroeville, Indiana, Dustin McClure. And across the cage, his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, wearing solid black trunks. He stands at 5 feet 9 inches tall. Official weight, 146.5 pounds. Coming in tonight with 2 victories, no defeats, fighting out of Montgomery, Illinois, Victor, the Constrictor Aguirre.
Dustin McClure in the old school American fighter, Rich Franklin, pink and brown is Dustin, and in the black trunks, Victor Aguirre. Touch gloves by both fighters. Ooh, kick and a punch by each fighter. Aguirre continuing with his kicks. 3 kicks in a row by Aguirre, 4 with the teep.
McClure doing a good job of checking those kicks right away, getting into his takedown game and getting Aguirre to his back.
Aguirre a blue belt, but he has got many, many years of gym experience. I would not let that belt kind of dictate what you think his level of experience is.
So perhaps McClure cannot rest on his laurels there as he has his top position.
Aguirre, bottom position. A little more confidence out of Aguirre, when they were announcing his name this time. It's the second fight. That's what happens the more you get in there.
Sometimes it takes a fight or two to just kind of get the moment, to get in the moment, to feel the energy of the building and really just get comfortable.
Ooh, nice little scramble. Aguirre is on top. Fantastic positioning by Victor Aguirre.
That was a very sophisticated transition by Aguirre, man. You can tell he's definitely been around the mats for some time.
Right. Aguirre's brother made his UFC debut about a month and a half ago. His brother, Slick Nick Aguirre, took a last-minute fight in the UFC. Peppering is Victor in top position. I think the strength of Dustin McClure, I think, is a little problematic.
Yeah, he seems to be, the longer, wiry kind of guys that can be hard to kind of deal with when you're grappling. I mean, he's doing a decent job in his guard, you know, tying up Aguirre, not letting him really advance.
Hanging out of the guard is Dustin McClure. Aguirre continuing to look for openings.
Aguirre stepping over that right side.
It's a little bit of a chess match right here.
Perhaps advancing here to full mount into the arm triangle. Man, like, that was textbook right there by Aguirre. He may be able to lock this up. All he needs to do is sink his right shoulder in a tad bit more. Perhaps step out to the side and flatten out.
Aguirre is squeezing, but I think the strength, oh, there it is, tap. A tap by Dustin McClure. I mean, we called it chess match and checkmate.
Checkmate by Aguirre with the arm triangle. McClure, you know, he definitely just didn't waver right away, but fought the position. But I mean, it comes a point to once you're in that arm triangle, you have two decisions: to go out or tap out.
Very methodical on Victor Aguirre's, you know, making his record 2-0. Michael Hansen coming into the ring. Yeah, smart. I mean, Victor Aguirre took no punishment and, you know, got to where he needed to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, our referee Rob Madrigal called a stop to the contest at 2 minutes, 23 seconds of round number 1. For your winner by submission via arm triangle choke, Victor, the Constrictor Aguirre.
You called that one, David Evans. You've got a knack of seeing submissions before they get there. It seems like you've been there a time or two.
You know, I may have been there a few times. You know, hopefully I'm in there soon. But impressive performance by Aguirre. I mean, he could fight tomorrow if he wanted to.
Yes. So that concludes another bout. Victor Aguirre wins by first round stoppage by arm triangle over Dustin McClure.
Here we go at our replay. Aguirre did a great job of solidifying position here on top and transitioning into the arm triangle. And from that moment, in my mind, it was all she wrote. All he needed to do was make the necessary adjustments, get his hips in, get his shoulder in. And before you know it, McClure is going to be forced to either tap out or go out.
Impressive performance by Victor Aguirre. Second impressive performance by him. So we're going to start our next bout. Our ring announcer, Michael Hansen, is going to take it away.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready for our next bout of the evening. And now making his way to the APFC cage from Hobart, Indiana, JJ Little Dirty Johnson.
JJ Johnson already entering the ring, very little walkout. He's out of Maxim Gym. He's being cornered by Armando Reyna and Dante Colza. His key to victory is by submission or knockout.
JJ Johnson, the tongue twister, if I ever heard it.
And now making his way to the cage from Illinois, Anthony Backwood Jackson.
Anthony Jackson out of MMA stop. He believes his key to victory is by knockout on his feet, and he needs to keep it there. He's got 4 wins, 2 knockouts, and 2 by decisions, and he has been training for 4 years. Being led to the cage by Dan Mulroney.
Backwoods Johnson coming in very composed, looks extremely confident as he steps into the cage.
Keep in mind his opponent, JJ Johnson, is a 3-time state champ, 4-time finalist, wrestled 3 years in college, and he's been at the sport of grappling since the age of 5. Wow. So there's a lot to chew in front of you.
This is just, hey, that's a testament to APFC, the matchmaking. They look for the toughest fight for these guys, for sure.
Bout number 11. We had a fantastic night of fights. We had a couple decisions of fights that, I mean, were action-packed, and we thought for sure that they'd have a finish. And, you know, both it's a testament to both fighters that it did. That went to a decision.
You know, fights like that, you know, you're a tough fighter. You know, you got someone tough in front of you. It causes you both got to raise your levels.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the APFC Flyweight Division, sponsored by 18th Street Brewery. And your referee in charge is Rob Madrigal. And now, introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. He stands 5 feet 5 inches tall. Official weight, 126.4 pounds. Coming tonight with 5 victories and 3 defeats from Hobart, Indiana, JJ Lil Dirty Johnson. And across the cage, his opponent fighting out of the red corner. He stands 5 feet 7 inches tall. Official weight, 125 pounds. Coming in tonight with 5 victories and 3 defeats from Markham, Illinois, Anthony Backwood Jackson.
Anthony Jackson in the white spandex trunks with the adorned with the Chicago flag. JJ Johnson in the black board short, or in the gray board shorts. I apologize. Both fighters, touch of gloves. JJ Johnson starts with a leg kick, counter right hook by Jackson.
Jackson, beautiful check hook there.
Jackson underhook.
Makes Johnson rethink his approach, comes right into the grappling sequence, but Jackson wants no part of that.
Jackson's waving off the takedown attempts. Left right punch by Jackson, moving forward, overhand right, shot by JJ Johnson. Jackson.
I'm loving the confidence I'm seeing by Jackson.
Jackson gets the takedown.
Johnson securing the triangle. Wow.
From his back, wrestlers often don't train from their back because they're not there enough in practice.
Johnson on the back of the head, he may be able to finish this if he just settles in the position, keeps his head down. Jackson needs to try to posture up. He's against the cage, so he's in a good position to posture and try to break the legs of Johnson, but Johnson's staying committed to that triangle.
Johnson's gonna have to be very careful not to burn his legs out on something that he might not have.
Good call there, Mike. As you see, Johnson has the triangle. However, his right foot isn't exactly in the crevice of his knee. So the frame there isn't really stable, and it looks like Jackson may be able to weave his head out of there a little bit.
Swinging JJ Johnson is Anthony Jackson, and back to the feet. Look at a little bit of labor, Jackson. That triangle must have been tight.
Jackson's like, I want no parts of that right now. He took a few steps back and got to restart.
JJ Johnson's a little bit flat-footed ever since that left-right punch lands by Jackson. Uppercut by Jackson as well. Johnson's in a world of trouble. Johnson once again on his back, and Jackson raining down punches on top of Johnson.
Beautiful uppercut there by Jackson, which essentially changes the tide of the fight now. Now Jackson's on top and has Johnson on his back. You know, after being rocked, I don't know if Johnson's going to be able to set up that triangle.
It's almost as if Johnson was a little bit frantic to start the pace instead of relaxed.
True, and then, you know, once he got that feel of that power too, that kind of changes things a little bit as well too.
Yeah.
You know?
Johnson on his back, Jackson in top position. I don't think Jackson wants to be here long. He's doing so well in the stand-up.
Very much so, and Johnson doesn't seem to be comfortable there. So doing a great job, just stepping back, getting the restart. Maybe look to land more strikes.
Ooh, the legs are a little bit wobbly on Johnson. He may have burned himself out on that triangle. With an adrenaline dump, lactic acid, in for a shot again is JJ Johnson. Ooh, nice takedown by Johnson to end the round, 10 seconds left.
Johnson right in the side guard, knee on belly here for him. Not enough time to really work, but definitely making a statement there.
I'll tell you, I thought Johnson looked like he was in a little bit of trouble. Definitely faced some adversity in that round, but that last 10 seconds probably breathed a lot of confidence into JJ Johnson.
For sure, and I mean from a judging perspective too, you know, judges typically remember the last thing they saw, and that was the takedown there for Johnson. Here we see the triangle, which, you know, I mean, a few more adjustments that probably could have ended the fight, to be honest, but Jackson was able to make adjustments on his side and work his way out. Got back to his feet, landed some bombs, and sat Johnson down. Beautiful takedown there by Johnson.
Nice round by Anthony Jackson. In the corner of JJ Johnson, we've got Dante Colosa and Armando Reyna. Armando Reyna, he's got Maxim Gym, a Carlson Gracie affiliate. In Anthony Jackson's corner, we've got Mark Ritchie and Dan Mulroney, MMA staff. Sean Shitwood, he's a black belt under Sean Shitwood. And we start round 2.
Now we saw in that first round, Johnson wants to drag this fight to the mat. Jackson wants to stay on his feet and bang and possibly end it early.
Ooh, shot to the body by Johnson. Another kick to the body lands by Johnson. Backing up. Jackson is continuing to push Johnson back with his punches. In on a single leg, back to an upper body clinch. Jackson's very difficult to take down.
You know, and that's a testament to his strength. Now, Johnson has been successful a few times with the takedowns.
Onto the ground. Ooh, and back to the feet is
Jackson, an athlete.
Action,
man.
Jackson, baby. Like and calm, too. I mean, the calm, collected, confident. I mean, that's what you want in an athlete.
For sure, man. And Johnson knows he doesn't want to allow Jackson any space here in this fight, because a few times Jackson was able to get some space. He definitely made a statement with his striking.
Into the clinch. J.J. Johnson pushing Anthony Jackson against the cage, landing some solid knees to the ribs.
Go in the cage. Go grab it.
And this is where Johnson wants to be here, just kind of wearing on Jackson here, even though Jackson is able to, you know, use his strength there. Now Johnson going to the take back to the clinch.
It's something he feels comfortable with. A lifetime of wrestling will do that.
I don't even think he's even trying to secure the takedown here. I think he's comfortable just tying him up and weathering and weighing on his opponent.
Left right punches by Jackson. J.J. Johnson, ooh, he had a real weird movement coming off that cage. Okay, one of his legs might be compromised. One of J.J. Johnson's legs might be compromised. We got 1:10 left in this second round. Up kicks by Johnson. Ooh, ankle pick.
Nice sweep there by Johnson. Off of his back, able to transition to his feet now to a front headlock position. Now Johnson being the wrestler, the only thing is his back has been against the cage quite a bit during this fight. So he's unable to get his straight shots off.
Johnson,
he's putting himself in a position.
Good call, David. You know, Johnson's also making Jackson carry his weight as well.
Very much so, and that's gonna play, you know, as the longer this fight goes on, that's gonna play a factor.
Nice takedown by Johnson. Peppering right hand punches by Johnson.
Johnson able to get on his back.
Jackson is flat right now against the mat. I think Jackson may have hit a cardio wall.
He spent so much time and energy defending those takedowns, you know, in a way that he did. I don't think he's going to be able to defend this rear naked choke knife.
Completely stretched out is Anthony Jackson, and there's less than 10 seconds left in this round.
It looked like it may have been deep there.
Jackson's out. No. I don't know, man.
It looked like it may have been deep. I didn't know what direction we were going there. We were calling the end of this fight or not, but Jackson's still in there.
Just the way Jackson kind of came out of that, it looked like he may have been out. Am I off on that?
No, you're not off. Like I said, I didn't know which direction we were going there with their back turned to us, but it looked like he could have been out for a second.
I think the leg of Johnson might be a little compromised, too, by the way he kind of came off that fence and the way he's wrestling. He's not really going for a takedown. It's more of making Jackson carry him.
Very much so. His leg could be compromised. However, we now know the gas tank of Jackson is also compromised.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. You got Danny Mulroney giving instructions to Anthony Jackson.
I think what the adjustment Jackson needs to make, he's done a decent job defending some of the takedowns by Johnson, but he needs to change his level.
We're into the third round again. That's been the story of the night.
High tides raise all ships is what we're seeing. You know, the level of talent here, man, it's hard.
Oops, slow to come out of the corner is Anthony Jackson. A little flat-footed is J.J. Johnson. Ooh, uppercut, left-right punch lands by J.J. Johnson. Johnson in for a single leg and a big takedown by J.J. Johnson.
Beautiful chain wrestling there by Johnson. Went to the shot, didn't get it right away. Stayed stuck to his opponent, was able to get the finish. Now he's in a great position here inside there.
And this is exactly where J.J. Johnson wants to be. Like, if you've got an issue with one of your legs, you need